right, everybody, it is another Tuesday night, so that means we are live. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, www.welikespортspc.com proudly presents to you its Tag Team Champions of the World. Hold it down longer because it's a special show. You've got myself, the Cleat Geek, Mike Valentine, and you got Gabriel Babyface over there to my right. He loves that nickname. Look at him smiling. He loves it. You're listening to the Sportz Truth, and we are the 6, 4, 3, and out guys. Gabriel, how you been, buddy?
Hello, Michael. You know, real fans know that today was the day to mark on their calendar. We are about to truly entail in a worthwhile endeavor, but Thursday, they are going to be following our lead.
Oh, there we go. I like this. We'll see how many of these picks we get right. I can't wait to bring aboard all the rest of the guys that we've got coming on. This should be a fantastic show, but of course, you know how we do this. We can't do any of that without the walk-up music.
Are you ready? 20 seconds start now. Ten seconds remaining. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Oh, here we go. Got the guitar, got the drums, got Gabriel, and got all of our guests lined up. A couple of them are still stuffing food in their mouth. You know, it's probably cheese, but that's okay. We will get everybody up here in just a moment. We are live with you today, and this is the Sportz Truth. We're doing our 2025, our first annual. This is never a second time to do it first, right? So we're doing the first annual 2025 NFL Mock. Boy, look at that mother's really getting ready. I just see him on the screen stretching. He's like, whoo, gotta get everything put together. All right, gentlemen, I'm loving this already. We're already getting double-digit people on with us. We haven't even brought the guests on yet. Gabriel, are you looking forward to the NFL draft?
I am, Wayne. Hopefully, music here starts to fade out a little bit. I've got a little bit of a hard time hearing you, but I know that we are in for one great, spectacular thing here, Michael.
All right, I can't believe somebody's actually having a hard time hearing my big mouth, but all right. We'll get everything going here in just a second. The music will stop, and we will start. I usually have this big, long thing that I'm doing, but we're not doing a whole bunch of stuff today. We're just doing an NFL mock draft with a bunch of my friends. I'm going to introduce them here shortly. All right, Gabriel. So without further ado, how about we bring a couple of these guys on, right?
Yes.
You all right with that, buddy?
Oh, yes.
All right. Well, we're going to start with Wayne, all right? So, he's a member of the National Sports Media Association. He's a featured writer and editor at Stadium Rant, which both of us have actually been on one of the podcasts that he has hosted, and we thank him for allowing us to do that. He's hosted the sports podcast Infinity Sports, Patriots End Zone, and the NFL Experts. Let's welcome Wayne to the show. How you doing there, Wayne?
What's going on? Those people out there who followed the NFL Experts would know that my intro is "What is Pippity Poppin'?" So what's going on, guys?
What is Pippity Poppin'? Oh, man. There's not a lot going on this side. How about you, Gabriel? What's going on with you, buddy?
No, that's great. What's pippity poppin'? Not much, Wayne. Not much at all.
I don't want to steal that, but I'll let you have it, man. All right, we've already got comments coming. We've already got everything else cranking along, so we'll get to those comments here in just a minute. Let me pull everybody up on stage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have had him on this show before, one of our highest rated shows ever. Cheese, Cheez, no E, here he is. How you doing, Cheese?
Oh, you're on mute, Cheese.
Hey, you're on mute, Cheese.
It would help if I unmuted. I'm
Yes.
well. How are you, Michael?
I'm doing great. Doing great. All right. Now, there is one more guy. We have never had him on this show before. He is a first-time guest. You can catch him over at Shots. FT Sideline is his Twitter handle, and we'll talk to each of these guys here during the show to make sure we get all their social medias out there so that all of our fans can join them on YouTube and X and whatever other platforms they got going on. But let's introduce the fifth and final member of our show. Here comes Med. Hey, there we go. All of us up here at one shot. Now, look at how pretty all this looks.
Man, it's like the Partridge Fan.
Right?
Yeah.
Med, how you been, bud?
Sweaty. Yeah, down here in South Carolina, it's a little toasty right now, but you're in Arizona, so I definitely understand how you feel.
Oh, I love it here, man. You don't have to shovel sunshine, buddy. That's
That's
why
right.
we live in Arizona. There is baseball everywhere. All right, so I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of different stuff here. Let me click over here. And we got our buddy Ricky Logan saying, let's go. He's one of the guys that writes for us on www.welikesportspc.com as well. So he is with us hanging out. He can't wait to see this graphic that he made. It's coming. And I will have to give Ricky a big, big shout out. You can follow him. It's Ricky Logan on Twitter. And then he has his own podcast with himself and Roger called the Red Hot Reds. Make sure you check out both of those different things, as well as everything from all of our guests today. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's set this up. Let me tell you how this is going to work. We are going to give you every single pick of the first round of the 2025 NFL Draft. Each guy up here, besides myself, has taken two divisions, and they will give picks for each one of those divisions. Let's see here. Let me go back here and flip this page, and I will tell you exactly. Cheese has got the NFC North and the AFC South. So that means he has Texans, Colts, Jags, Titans, Lions, Vikings, Packers, and Bears. Wayne has the AFC East and the AFC West. So he will be picking Bills, Dolphins, Jets, Patriots, then Chiefs, Chargers, Broncos, and Raiders. Med has NFC East and NFC South. So that means he'll have the Eagles, the Cowboys, the Commanders, the Giants, the Buccaneers, the Falcons, the Panthers, and the Saints. And then, of course, my buddy Gabriel up there, he's pulling up the rear here, and he has the AFC North and the NFC West. So the teams that he has will be Ravens, Steelers, Bengals, Browns, and Rams, Seahawks, Cardinals, and 49ers. As they make the pick, we'll put them in their war room so they can go over all of the information that they've all got in front of them. I know all of these guys, I've talked to them on their own social medias. They have been working really hard on this stuff. They want to do the picks right. We want to see how many of these picks we can actually get right as a collective group. If you've seen any of his YouTube stuff, I think better with that sign covering your face, just so you know. So get started. Cheese will be the first guy off of the board, and he is going to make the first pick as the Tennessee Titans are now on the clock. All right, as you see the graphic there, you can also Rowdy Knights Coffee. You can get to them. They are the sponsor of tonight's show. You can just simply scan that QR code. It will take you right to both their website and their Instagram and Twitter. So all of that will go right from the scan code there. we'll give Cheese a chance to make his pick. Cheese, just remember, buddy, just DM me on Twitter. I'll have it, and then we'll go from there. All right. So, gentlemen, I tell you what, Wayne, let's start with you for a second. It is heavily favored that it's going to be Cam Ward in this pick. You were making the pick, Wayne. Would you do Cam?
Absolutely not. I think that there's bigger holes to fill there. They've got Will Levis under contract on his rookie deal now for another couple of years. I know he hasn't done really well, but he's still young. He still has a shot. They have bigger holes. Like I said, their pass rush is anemic, so they could use a guy like Abdul Carter. They don't have a number one receiver. They do have Calvin Ridley, but he didn't play like a number one receiver last year. He played like a number two, but he's their best receiver, and then it's crap after that. They don't have a good secondary, so maybe a guy that plays wide receiver and corner would be a good pick for them. I think both of those guys, Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter, will be better picks than Cam Ward, who I don't think is a game-changing quarterback. I think he's kind of like, I guess we got to take him because he's there type of quarterback. He's not Trevor Lawrence. He's not Caleb Williams, a guy that's a sure thing number one guy. So if I'm them, I would have gone positional.
Fantastic. Hey, I appreciate that, Wayne. Now, Med, he said something that I want to kind of touch on with you real quick. Wayne said he's not really a special quarterback. They're just kind of picking him because he's there. So what do you think about that, Med? Do you think that Cam Ward is a special quarterback, someone who can change the trajectory of the Tennessee Titans if they pick him number one?
I actually think he can. I think he has the potential to be a franchise quarterback. Whenever you watch him play, he makes everything look really easy. And yes, he did that at Miami where the talent level is really high, but you look at what he did over at Washington State the year before with the talent pool a lot lower. He was able to keep plays his team in games. In fact, you could just look back at the Cal game and tell that he can play under pressure. They were down by 24 points in that game, and they still managed to come back and win it. Now, I do understand that Travis Hunter is a generational talent, and Abdul Carter is amazing and is all right. But if you have a chance to get a franchise quarterback, you need to take that chance. You got to swing for the fences on this one.
All right. Now, Gabriel, you will be picking with the next pick for the Cleveland Browns because that's one of the divisions that you have. So as you are watching everything unfold, who do you think the Tennessee Titans are going to take that will be off the board for you with the second pick, sir?
We're not going to reveal our hand too heavily because we're prepared for any and all situations. We've done our homework. But I will say, in honor of Sam, also known as at Mr. First Down, we are hoping that the Tennessee Titans trade down.
All right. Well, that is one thing that I should also mention here as we're counting down the seconds here. We're less than 2 minutes before the pick will be revealed. So we are not going to do any trades here whatsoever. A lot of the guys have been like, hey, can we do trades? Can we talk to each other? Can we? And as exciting as that may have been, and we might do that for the second annual NFL draft special that we have, I decided to snare that away from everybody. So for those of you who are like, oh, yeah, we're going to get some trades. We're going to get some. No, not today. You're not. But maybe sometime in the future, you will get those trades. So the pick is already in. I see it. So we're going to go off of here just a little bit. Thank you guys all for coming on with us. You can comment up here in the upper, I believe, right-hand corner. We are already cranking towards 100, getting people up here and on here. So, man, we are really appreciative of everyone who has already jumped on board with us. We got less than a minute now for the first pick, and that will be revealed here shortly. Let me go ahead and cut a few seconds off of this. We'll take it down to 3, 2, and 1. All right, ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. Let me pull Cheese back up here with us, putting all 5 of us up here on the board. And here we go. With the first pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Tennessee Titans choose Cam Ward, quarterback, Miami. Cheese, tell us why you chose Cam Ward.
Well, I'm not as high on Cam Ward as most people. However, he can make every throw. He's athletic enough to get outside the pocket. And if you pass on him and he becomes a top 7-8 quarterback in the league, then you're fired as a GM. So the main thing I want to look at as a quarterback, can he make all the throws? And if he can, plus he has a ton of production. He's the all-time leading touchdown passer in NCAA history. So I'm not as high on him as most, but if you pass on him and he ends up being unbelievable, then you'll never live it down.
All right, so just let me make sure that everybody understands that now the Cleveland Browns are on the clock. All right, Med, let me go back to you for a second. You've actually got the next pick here, the New York Giants. You'll be picking for them, so you've already got Cam Ward off the board. What was Cam Ward a big surprise that he came off the board to you?
Not to me. I think that like Cheese said, I mean, when you have someone that is like that, you're going to be tied to it. GMs are typically tied to whatever their first ever pick was, especially at quarterback. And if he does come out and be one of those top 10, top 5 quarterbacks in the NFL, everyone's going to look back and basically you committed career suicide at that point.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those things to where, so I tell you what, I want to go to Wayne on this one because I know Wayne has been, how long have you been in this business, Wayne?
Over 20 years. I've been writing about sports, and so I've been podcasting for a little over 5.
All right. We certainly appreciate all the hard work and things that you have put into this. We appreciate guys like you, especially those people like me who are just trying to break into this business. We can look up to people like you. We appreciate you coming on the show with us today, Wayne. But here's my question for you, sir. How many times have you seen this number 1 pick go awry, but the number 1 pick still stays and the general manager goes?
Almost every time, right? I mean, it's never going to be a situation where, a guy goes number 1, let's say like an Alex Smith, right? So Alex Smith goes number 1 overall, doesn't quite pan out. Obviously he's going to keep his job because the team's invested in the number 1 pick, and it's the general manager who picked him who's going to go, because Alex Smith didn't pick to go to his team. Somebody picked him there. So that's the person who's going to be held responsible. I do think that's going to happen with Cam Ward. I mean, I really do. I think this is a guy who declared for the NFL draft last year out of Washington State, found out that, he wasn't going to be picked in the first round at all, went back to college at Miami, and now he's the number 1 overall pick. So that's why I think he's different than guys like Caleb Williams, who would have been the number 1 pick as a freshman. Trevor Lawrence, who would have been the number 1 pick as a freshman. This guy, was going to be a 2nd-round pick just a year ago, and now he's number 1. So that's why I think he's he's a great player. I think he's great, but number 1 overall, he's not a franchise saver to me.
All right, he's not a franchise saver. We've discussed this a couple of times. Cheese, man, you made this pick, and I'm not real sure everybody agrees with you. Are you going to stand firm on this pick, or did you feel as though because he's the quarterback and your team needs a quarterback, that's what you had to go?
I just try to put myself in the Tennessee Titans shoes, and they really need a quarterback. Will Levis is a disaster. But thing with Cam Ward is, in that Cal game, he led a comeback. He had a horrible pick 6 early on. He played bad in the first half and led him a comeback. But I'm going to defend it because you have to have a quarterback. And he can make every throw. Why not? It's worse to miss on a quarterback with tools than to not take a quarterback and he ends up being a Hall of Famer. So when in doubt, just take the quarterback.
Well, I have a question for Cheese, if it's okay. I had a question because I'm guessing that you're a Packers fan, right? And obviously, you draft him for the Titans here, who had originally taken a guy named Malik Willis out of Liberty. And Malik Willis can make every throw. He's got a cannon for an arm, might have the best arm in the NFL, better than Josh Allen, right? So here you have a guy who can make every throw, and Tennessee lets him go and they stick with Levis. Do you think that Cam Ward is better than Malik Willis, or did Tennessee make a mistake by letting Willis go?
He's better than Malik Willis. He's definitely better than Malik Willis. Malik Willis, the biggest problem with him was he came from Liberty, and he was so hard to evaluate based on their offense. I don't think Cam Ward would have been a top 10 pick in last year's draft, but it's such a weak quarterback class. He's by far, in my opinion, the best quarterback in this class. But he is a better prospect than Malik Willis. Malik Willis is just a very good backup and a below average starter. But Cam Ward, I think he can be good. I don't know how good he can be. He has got way too many turnover where he plays. He holds the ball down on his hip too much. He could fumble a lot. There were a lot of things when I watched him. There were a lot of plays where defensive players dropped the ball. He should have thrown more interceptions than he did. But he has tools.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, the pick is in. And here we go. Let me bring Gabriel back up on stage so we can see everyone's reaction to this pick. I think we're going to be shocked. He is a 5'9" junior, 215 pounds, 21 years old, and with the second pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Cleveland Browns select running back Ashton Jeanty. Gabriel, why did you take running back Ashton Jeanty with the number 2 pick in the NFL draft for the Cleveland Browns?
What we did was what some other fan bases might not recognize, and that's called be smart. We understand that we have, Russell Wilson, Jameis, famous Winston in the building. We get that, but we don't need to reach on a quarterback. We could have gone O-line. I get that. We have a lot of holes on this team. We could have gone a number of areas, but Ashton Jeanty is a surefire, can't miss product, and he will go really well with Arch Manning the year afterward. I can't wait for that duo to tear up the NFL.
Oh, well, I think we got some topics to talk about here, but first, let me take Med off the board and let all of you know that the New York Giants, if I hit the right button, hang on, this one, there we go, that the New York Giants are now on the clock. So now you're already saying, Gabriel, that your team, the Cleveland Browns, are going to be awful enough this coming season in order to get a really good quarterback next season. Is that part of this "we are smart" strategy that you claimed to have earlier?
Can I also now I'm now also now realizing in my explanation, I gave the wrong team, but it's fine. My reasoning still stands. The tank for Arch is on.
I don't know about this tank for Arch thing, but okay. Wayne, did it surprise you at all that the Cleveland Browns kind of went out of order and took a running back with this pick in the first round?
Well, yes and no. I mean, nothing surprised me with the Cleveland Browns because it's just a whole organization of dysfunction over there. So I wouldn't be surprised if they'd taken, a 4th round pick here at the number 2 overall. But I know I don't agree with the pick. Obviously, I'm a guy who thinks that you should never take a running back in round 1, no matter how good he is. Even if it's Barry Sanders, let him go. It's just it's a disposable position. You have to look at the Cleveland Browns. How good were they when they had a completely healthy Nick Chubb running for 1,500 yards? Oh, they were good enough to go about 6-11. That's how good they were with a great running back. So, you're definitely going to get Arch Manning next year because this is when you bring in a superstar running back to a team that went 3-14, and he has a 2,000-yard season and one of the greatest seasons ever. You'll go 4-13. So, great job. You'll have your pick at Arch Manning next year.
Thank you.
But okay, so Cheese, is that a good strategy though? Get a really good player this year, set yourself up to get a really good player next year, and let's just go all in on the offense. Is that a smart game plan, Cheese?
So much has happened in the last 2 minutes. So much has happened. So Ashton Jeanty is the number 1 player on my board. I love him to death. I would have no problem if the Browns took him. I think the league is coming back towards the running game. I think the running game is becoming more important, especially with teams playing so much too high. But the running back value this high, as much as I love Jeanty, is just not good. You need Abdul Carter, Travis Hunter are just higher value positions. And you can come back in the second and third round with the Browns pick right at the beginning of the third round. You can find a really good running back in this draft. So as much as I love Genty, I would not have done this, but I get it. He is a special, special player.
All right, but would you have rather had a healthy special player in Genty or a guy who's injured that's going to be on your line and maybe be a defensive end for you or something like that? Chief, I mean, I think all of these guys. Well, let's put it this way: none of these guys are perfect, right? None of them.
Correct. None of them are perfect. There's no such thing as can't miss. But I'm torn. I like this pick, but I also don't like it. I don't like the value of the position, but I love the player. So if the Browns do this, which is very unlikely, I would have no problem with it. I have a friend who's a Browns fan, and he was hoping I was picking for the Browns. He said, make sure you screw it up because that's what they do. So Wayne's right. But, we'll see.
All right, let's look at some of these comments there. We threw a bunch of those up there. So, ladies and gentlemen, all over 100 of you who are tuning in to us right now, live on the 2025 Sportz Truth Draft Special. You can also put your comments on. Just click on the comments button up in the top right-hand corner. And as long as you're talking about what we are talking about, we will include you in those comments. Thank you guys very much for doing that. Ashton Gentry, a little bit of a surprise to me. Not that he's not a good player, but I'm not sure if that's the guy you take at number 2. But then again, that's why I'm not picking. So we will leave that up to those of you who are. And of course, that brings me to Med. His pick is in for the New York Giants. Let's take a few seconds off of this clock and let's take it down. All right. So yes, the pick is in. Pull everybody up here. Pull Med back on. And here we go. With the third pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the New York Giants select cornerback / wide receiver Travis Hunter. Now, Med, I always go right into the next person and say, why did you do that? But before I do, let me let you know that Wayne, he is next. He is picking for the New England Patriots. I will take him off of the board. And Wayne, you and the New England Patriots are now on the clock. And as I do that, Med, why did you take Travis Hunter with the third pick in the draft?
Well, when you look at him, like I kind of alluded to it earlier, he's kind of like if you're to say that there is a generational player on this whole draft right now, you got 2 players, Abdul Carter, who could be that guy, and you got Travis Hunter, who more than just astounded people this past season. Like you said, the Giants need help both on offense and defense. How scary would it be for Jameis Winston to throw interceptions, but also throw long bombs to Malik Neighbors and Travis Hunter on the other side? And if you want to start him over on defense, he will help with that atrocious pass defense. I could have went with Carter, but I think they already got 2 edge rushers as it is with Brian Burns and with Kayvon Thibodeau. The only other move I would have actually went with was probably Mason Graham. So I think that they really need to work on their defense.
All right. So that is Med's opinion. Gabriel, you took the running back. A lot of people, I think, believed that maybe the Cleveland Browns were going to take the same guy that Med took for the Giants with your pick. So tell me, why is Ashton Gentry better for the Browns than Travis Hunter?
Yeah. Here's the thing. When you phrase it logically like that, then I may look bad. That's fine. But
we'll let you look bad, sir. It's not a big deal.
You're fine, man.
Listen, apparently, according to the comment section, I'm nailing it as a Browns GM, so it's fine. It works out either way. I'll be honest, I have a lot of moving tabs open myself in terms of what I'm like monitoring so I can make all these picks as best as I actually can. And I in my head I skipped and I thought I was the third. So it's just full disclosure. I really did. That's why my reasoning I gave the Giants. So I don't know. If you want me to still finagle myself and justify my number 2 overall pick, I'll happily do so. But that's what happened.
All right. So, picking just like a Browns GM. We appreciate it, Gabriel. At least you're representing the team well, sir.
Yeah, I'm right on brand.
Right. Okay. So, Cheese, let me go to you for a second. So now, Travis Hunter, 1,152 yards, 96 yards a game, 92 receptions, 14 touchdowns in the 2024 season. But he thinks he can play cornerback and wide receiver at the same time in the NFL. Do you think he can play cornerback and wide receiver at the same time in the NFL?
Early on, probably. After year 3 or 4, I think he's going to have to pick a position. So Colorado, I get it, 12, 13 games, 17, possible 18 game season. He's going to start wearing down. He is undersized. He's got a thin frame. So I don't see him holding up at 2 positions. It's why I have him 3rd on my big board behind Abdul Carter and Ashton Genty, is just because he's going to have to pick. And which position he picks, it depends on who drafts him. So, yeah.
All right. So then, Ben, I'm going to come back to you since you made the pick.
Yeah.
Does that mean that you are okay as a GM with what Travis Hunter has said, which is I'm going to play both? And if the organization that chooses me doesn't want me to, they may as well not pick me. So I assume that you're okay with him playing both.
I don't think he could play them both full time. I think what would really happen is he would have to focus more on one and then moonlight with the other. Like he would basically, if we were to, as a Giants organization, were to start him at wide receiver, have him go in every now and then, kind of like what Deion Sanders did with the Cowboys, and have him play, like maybe slot or something like that. But he was a great cover corner too. So, I mean, he picked off 4 balls last year and he only allowed 21 completed passes on 43 pass attempts towards him. So, I mean, he's legit either way. It's just that he's going to have to focus more on one as opposed to the other, both. I mean.
All right. So then if he's going to eventually have to be one or the other with 10 seconds left before this clock goes off, which one do you want him to be?
I think I kind of lean towards receiver.
All right. The music kind of cut you off, but I believe you said you lean towards receiver on this one.
Yes, sir.
Yes. All right. Fantastic. Appreciate that. Let's take this off, put everybody back up here. Let's put Wayne back on the screen. All 5 of us up here as we now announce pick number 4. So with the 4th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the New England Patriots select defensive end, Penn State, Abdul Carter. Wayne, why did you pick Abdul Carter? But before you do that, Cheese, you are now on the clock. I'll take you off the screen. You are representing the Jacksonville Jaguars, and you, sir, are on the clock. But Wayne, why did you make this pick at this point?
Well, I mean, it's really what they've said they're going to do anyways. They said they are not looking at a position of need. They're looking at the best player available, and Abdul Carter is the best player available. I actually think he's the best player in the draft. I do think Micah Parsons is a legitimate comp for him. When you look at how big and how fast he is, I mean, the guy had 24 tackles for a loss last year. I mean, he's a freak of nature. So really, the Patriots don't necessarily need an edge rusher. Keon White made big steps last year. They went out, they signed Milton Williams. They got some, Anthony Jennings is okay on the outside, but none of them are Abdul Carter. I mean, this guy is potentially a future Hall of Famer. So even though they don't necessarily need that position, he's the best player available. You take him and you plug him in, and somebody else just has to sit. So that's my reasoning there, is just get a guy who's just phenomenal and put him in there.
So you said, I'm going to follow up with you here. You said he's the best player in the draft. So if you had the number 1 pick, would you have still made the exact same person?
If I was Tennessee, I would have taken Abdul Carter.
Very interesting. All right. So, Med, I'm going to go up to you here, one above Wayne for just a second. We know the injury history that the Penn State alum has here in Abdul Carter. How much of that do you think made him drop down from possibly 1, 2, or 3 to number 4? And Wayne was happy to get him for the New England Patriots.
In all honesty, I mean, you hear the reports and everything about him potentially needing surgery on his foot. And whenever you're a player, that is something that you always think about. Like, you know, you're thinking about the fact that there's a potential for him to not be there anymore. I do love this pick because, I mean, like he said, I mean, this guy can be a potential Hall of Famer, but is his foot going to hold up that long? They say that there's nothing really wrong with it. He should be fine. But if you found something and you said there's an issue, then there's an issue. And, you know, the way that I look at it is you could either go that route or you could have went offensive tackle and protect your franchise quarterback.
Gabriel, he is an edge rusher. He being Abdul Carter that was just picked here at the number 4 pick by the New England Patriots. Do you subscribe to the often said that defense wins championships?
Oh yeah, for sure. I'll just say I do have my reservations in terms of that foot and that very real possibility of, all right, you have him, and now we run the risk of really not being able to potentially see him again, you know, depending if it re-aggravates, if, you know, there's something else attached or connected to the foot that then becomes an issue. So yeah, I'm definitely worried about that in that aspect. If the doctors give me the all clear, then this is something of a no-brainer for me. But definitely that's something that I think has to weigh heavy, because how many teams, you don't want to be one of the teams where in this draft class, outside of quarterback, I'll say this again, outside of quarterback, there are so many great talents. There are so many great players throughout all positions that aren't quarterback there. I'll say it that for the last time, maybe. That I think if you get someone who is more injury prone, and it turns out he does get at this point is a fairly predictable injury, I think you'll be kicking yourself.
All right. So, Wayne, you're the one that picked him. So I want to give you these numbers for a second. Which one impressed you the most and really said, hey, we have got to pick this guy because of this number for this past season? Abdul Carter had 33 solo tackles. He had 10 sacks. And he also had 24 tackles for loss. Of those 3, Wayne, which one really kind of pushed him over the edge to where you said Abdul Carter is our guy?
It's the tackles for a loss. I mean, that's the no-brainer there. I mean, 24 is an insane number. Usually you see guys have 33 tackles, they'll have 7 or 8 for a loss. You know, I mean, this guy had 24. And the reason that tackles for a loss is such an important statistic is, like, sacks don't count towards that tackle for a loss. That's its own separate thing. So this is 24 times that he got in the backfield and took down a running back or somebody. That, I mean, the amount of effort and resilience that it takes to get in the backfield and then to make a tackle on top of that. I mean, this guy has a motor that doesn't quit. That's something you want to see when you put it on a guy who's 6'3", 260 and runs a 4.4. Like, it's you know, one of the best players we're talking about in the league.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I don't think you're going to get an argument from anybody on this stage that he is not a freakish athlete. It's just, where was he going to go? We knew he was going to go in one of those top 5 picks. So the New England Patriots snagged him. Wayne picks them for his team. And we are ready for the next pick. All right, guys, here we go. Bring everybody back up. Bring Cheese back on the stage as well. And let's say this. With the 5th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Jacksonville Jaguars select defensive tackle Mason Graham from Michigan. Okay, so before we get into it, Wayne, you're going to go right back off the board because you, sir, are on the clock for the Las Vegas Raiders, and we will talk to Cheese about why we made this selection right now. Cheese, why? Why defensive tackle right now?
Well, real quick, Abdul Carter is a dream scenario for New England. That's what they want. So they're praying it happens, unlikely. And I did a plan for this mock. I said, I think I can get these players here. And I was like, I'm taking Ashley GNT for the Jaguars. I'm going to blow this whole mock up. And then Gabriel completely ruined it. But anyway.
Good job, Gabriel. Good job, buddy.
Everyone assumed he's going to the Raiders. Mason Graham, unbelievable first step. His lateral agility is insane for a defensive tackle. He's just always in the backfield. He might be a little undersized. His arms are a little shorter, but you watch him on film, he's always in the backfield. And he was a terror for college offensive linemen. So he's just going to be really good. I don't know if he's got like a super high ceiling. He's just going to be one of those three techniques that's just really, really good.
All right. So, Med, again, you're right up above Cheese here. We'll go to you next. And I'll tell you this. He's a 6'3", 320-pound junior, 21 years old. This past season, he had 24 solo tackles, only 3.5 sacks, no interceptions, no forced fumbles. But he also, in his combine workout, he bench pressed the 225 24 times. Med, how many times can you bench press 225, you think, sir?
Now?
Yeah, right now.
Maybe 10 or 11 times. That's not many. So, I mean, but no, I actually love this. And you're not really, in my personal opinion, you look at what the Jaguars defense did last year against the run, which was just pitiful. It was 134 yards per game that they gave up on a regular basis. So, to me, Mason Graham should be a lock at 5 for the Jaguars because he's going to be able to – he's not going to get your sack numbers. That is for Tavon Walker and Josh Hines-Allen to be able to do for you. This guy is going to be sitting in the middle. He's going to be your anchor, and he's going to make sure that people don't sit up there and have a career day on your team on a nightly basis.
All right. So, yeah, again, we're seeing a little bit of a run on the defensive side here for a few moments. Gabriel, do you think that's going to continue, or do you think we're going to shift back to the offensive side of the game?
Yeah, can I say what? First of all, what probably happens is again we'll see the annual run on the quarterback, the run, the store opening type of mindset on a Black Friday or whatever the case may be, where we got to get a quarterback 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll see something to that effect. Maybe not with the Patriots, but Jackson Dart is going to be up there, so that'll be fun in terms of how defensive we are in this mock draft. Yeah, there's a lot of good players outside of quarterback that are still available, and I think a lot of us are going to end up getting really great offensive value. I mean, look at, for example, I don't want to give up too much here, maybe, but look, for example, Ted, he's right there on the board still. He's going to be a great pick, particularly wherever he ends up falling. I gotta say, for Mr. Cheese down there, bring me back Saxonville. I love this pick.
Saxonville, huh? We're going to do that one. All right.
Well, the Jaguars' defensive tackle situation is horrible, too. This is a huge need.
So, Cheese, you bring up a good point as we get to right about a minute left here before we have the next pick in the draft here, our 2025 mock draft here on the Sportz Truth. Do you get a guy in the first round like this for what he is right now, or do you get a guy in the first round because you know he has the potential to be a game-changing player? Cheese.
Oh, sorry. It completely cut out for a second.
It's okay.
No, okay. It depends where you're picking and the value. The value for the Jaguars is Mason Graham. If you're picking maybe 11th, 12th, 13th in this draft, as we'll see. Maybe you take a guy with high upside, maybe a Shamar Stewart. But the value here, you just take Mason Graham. I love productivity this high in the draft. Traits, maybe you can wait a little later for upside, but this high in the draft, you do not want to miss it. You don't want to miss on the pick.
All right, so we already know that the pick is in here as well. Once again, that was Wayne. He is picking for the Las Vegas Raiders. Let's bring him back up on the stage with us as we announce the 6th pick here in the draft. With the 6th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Las Vegas Raiders. I'm going to mess this name up right now. Wayne, I should probably have you just tell me. Wayne, you go ahead and tell me. You pronounce the name. Who'd you get, buddy?
Yeah, the Raiders took Tetsuya McMillan, the wide receiver out of Arizona. And I'm going to be bouncing out of here in just a second because I have the Jets next. But I will say that the Raiders took this pick because basically outside of Jacoby Myers, they've got nobody. I mean, their third receiver on their depth chart is Ramel Keaton. You know what I mean? So in a dream scenario, Ashton Genty is here, but obviously he's not because that would be the pick. So he's gone. So they take Tet McMillan to be their number 2, but probably number 1 receiver over Jacoby Myers.
All right, Wayne, I will go ahead and put you on the clock, but I'll keep you up here for just a second because of the fact that you've got a back-to-back here real fast. And I'll ask you this. So you said that Gentry would have been your pick here. I know that's like the scenario that everybody keeps coming up with, but I really think that getting this wide receiver at this spot could really help the Raiders just as much as a running back could, right?
It works out really well for them. This is, again, the dream scenario is that Genty is there. He's not going to be. I know Jacksonville is a wild card. I actually read a report today on Twitter from a reporter who said that if Abdul Carter and Travis Hunter are off the board at 4, then the Bears have a trade in place to move up to 4 to take Genty at 4. They would trade their pick in the first round plus number 41 and then a 3rd rounder next year to move up and get him. So, and the Patriots are happy to move down if those 2 guys, Hunter and Carter, are off the board. So Genty is a very desirable commodity. The Raiders would love for him to fall to 6, but I don't think he's going to be there.
Yeah, especially not if Gabriel's picking for the Browns. That he's never going to make it there. So we're good. All right, but I'm going to take you off the screen for just a second. Concentrate on your next pick here for us, the New York Jets at pick number 7, and we'll be back with you here in just a second, sir. All right, so the receiver that, I have tried to pronounce this guy's name. I butcher it every time. He plays right here in the same state in which I live in. I've seen him up close a couple times. I really like what he brings to the table. Cheese, tell me, I know you did a wide receiver ranking on your podcast that you do. Tell me the name of the podcast and where Mr. McMillan fell on your ranking, sir.
It's at Football with Cheese. You can see on the screen, CHEEZ. Here's the thing with Trevor McMillan. He is a player that could go this high, but he could fall in the 20s. He's 6'4", over 213 pounds. He's unbelievable at contested catches. He's so athletic, runs great routes. For his size, good after the catch. But he doesn't always play with urgency. Once Arizona was kind of out of a bowl game, they had a disastrous season. He wasn't as effective. It looked like he was going through the motions. And he did an interview in 2023 where he told the reporter, "I don't love football and I don't watch film." So he absolutely should be a top 10 pick based on talent, but he makes me nervous. And so I think he could fall a little further than most people think.
All right, so I want to build off of what she said, and I want to go to Med here for a second, and I want to ask Med, so is it more than just talent that you're looking at, especially in these guys that you're taking in the first round of the draft?
Oh, definitely. You definitely want to be able to have a player that has the heart to actually want to improve themselves and also do what's best for their team. If I actually heard that, I would actually, in my personal opinion, just take his name off the board completely, because what you're telling me is you're really just here for the money. You're in the end game. That's what they're there for. But at the same time, if you don't have the drive to really excel and be the best at what it is and really have a true passion for this game, why even play it?
That's an interesting take. Gabriel, so talent works hard when, how does the rest of the quote go? Do you remember from, I believe it's a Tim Tebow quote, right? Do you know the rest of the quote, Gabriel? I'm gonna put you on
I
the
do
spot.
not. I do not know the rest of the quote.
don't
I can
know the rest
butcher
of
it
the
if you'd
quote?
like.
So what is it? Talent works hard when, come on, somebody help me out here.
The
Don't make
talent
me
gets
Google it.
working.
No.
I think it's hard work always beats talent when talent ain't working or something like that.
Yeah, maybe that's
I
what
was
it is.
there.
Yeah.
I was in the
You
ballpark.
were pretty close, buddy. You were pretty close. So yeah, we're talking about talent and we're talking about attitude. Where do you rank? Which one is one for you, Gabriel, and which one is two? Talent, attitude.
Oh, for sure. Attitude. The soft skills, the interpersonal skills, that always wins out for me over talent. So regardless of what happens with these drafts, we're doing the best that we can. Everyone outside of me, that's kudos to the rest of you. You're doing an outstanding job, gentlemen. But we only have so much information, and we haven't had the chance to get a feel for how these people are in person or over a long period of time. Now, it's rare, I would say. Again, I don't know, but I would say I have found my new ringtone. Thank you, Michael. It's rare for a college to just say, yeah, this guy isn't it if he's their guy. But you can get a feel by talking with the colleges who's a hard worker, who shows up early, etc. So I for me, if I was actually evaluating and acting within a GM or scouting capacity for a team, I would weigh what the colleges say and how they talk about these players much more heavily than what we are able to.
All right. So we let Gabriel finish his thought, but in doing so, I'm going to change this up a little bit for the sake of time here. So, Med, I'm going to go ahead and take you off the screen. You are going to be doing the pick for the Carolina Panthers here at number 8. You, sir, are going to be on the clock, and I will make this pick here now as we put the clock thing up here and let it start counting down. And here we go. Wayne says he picked number 7 for the New York Jets. And with that 7th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the New York Jets pick Michigan cornerback Will Johnson. All right, Wayne, tell us, why Will Johnson? Why a cornerback for the Jets?
Well, the Jets have a number of holes they could have filled here. I did think about tight end as something because they are lacking in the receiver department. And so tight end is one of the worst receivers that they have there in the office. They also could use some help in the pass rush. But at the end of the day, Aaron Glenn is a cornerback himself. I think he would like the idea of pairing a guy like Will Johnson, who is elite, with Sauce Gardner, especially when you're looking at Brandon Stevens as your number 2, who allowed a passer rating of 107.4 last year when he was targeted. So really, they're going to go out and get a really good, probably comparable to Sauce Gardner corner, and they're going to have just 2 shutdown guys.
All right, so we have got a lot of stuff going on right at the moment. We're going a little bit of defense, a little bit of offense. We picked a quarterback, a wide receiver. We've gotten some linemen. Now we're getting a cornerback. Cheese, is a cornerback something that you would say is like a running back, maybe not in the first round? Or would you put a cornerback in the first round over a possible running back?
Depends what scheme you run. If you run a lot of press man, then I'm okay with using a first-round pick on a corner. It's hard to find really good corners that can play man. If you play a primarily zone scheme, then I'd probably wait. But as far as Will Johnson goes, his injury history is concerning. He has no interest in playing the run, but he's a very good cover corner. I like Wayne. I like how he's just aggressive. He's going for like the upside players, like the really good players. He doesn't care about injuries or the red flags. He's going for the guys that are just really good on film. So, but cornerback it's a tough position to evaluate because you have to know what teams value it more than others.
All right, so I'm going to stick with you for just a second here. Now you gave us two different types of schemes, right? So why is a cornerback more? How do I want to say this? Why is a cornerback more important to one scheme than he is to the other scheme that you were bringing up earlier, Chief?
Because it's easier to play zone than man. It's easier to find zone corners. Press man, you need length. You need length. You need recovery speed. Zone, basically, you're reading the quarterback. You're watching the quarterback. You're not playing the man. So it's easier to find zone corners. So a lot of teams won't even take a corner before round 3, and other teams will take a corner in the first round, their best player on the board every time, like Baltimore Ravens, for example. So it really just depends on what scheme they run and how they value the position.
All right, Gabriel, do you think that you've got a guy in Travis Hunter who can play corner? You've got Will Johnson here who can play corner. Which one of those two, if you can get Travis Hunter to play only corner, would you take? Which is the number one corner on your board?
Oh, for sure, Will Johnson. Travis Hunter has the best upside because he can be a potential two-way player. But you know what they say about the jack of all trades. I think he being Travis Hunter is more of a vertical downhill athlete, meaning I'd rather see him on the offensive side of the ball and kind of figure things out there, where I'm not sold on his lateral quickness and him being able to keep up and not bite at the next level and get burned at a disproportionate level. Granted, all corners get burned. That's the nature of the position. It always amazes me when we give someone grief for getting scored on. It's like, well, yeah, you're on an island, so there's going to be a couple moments where you zig when you should have zagged. But I just think I understand he wants to play both positions. If you're giving me a corner option, I would for sure go hands down Will Johnson.
I'm going to disagree with Gabe on that one because I actually think that Travis Hunter is an elite corner. I think that's actually the better of the two positions that he plays. If he only played cornerback, he's still a top 5 pick in this draft. If he only plays wide receiver, he's at the bottom of the first round, maybe the start of the second round. So for me, I think Hunter's the best corner in the draft.
And I like them both. I like them both.
I like them both. All right, buddy. Okay, so the pick is in. Let's bring Med back up on the stage with everyone else. Hang on, I went past it. There we go. Now I've got it back. All right. So let's go this way. With the 8th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Carolina Panthers select the first Georgia Bulldog taken in the draft today, Jalen Walker, linebacker from Georgia. All right, so here's how we're going to do this. The New Orleans Saints are also on the clock, and Med, you will pick for them. So let me give you a couple seconds. I'm going to go ahead and do what I did with Wayne. I'm going to put you on the clock. I'll start everything, and then I'll take you off the board here in just a moment. But why Jalen Walker, linebacker, Georgia, for the Carolina Panthers at number 8?
Well, I think that you could either go one of two ways. You could either find Bryce Young a really nice toy with getting him a receiver or someone to throw to, or you can fix the 32 ranked defense in the NFL. And with Jalen Walker, you get a little bit, it's more of a hybrid. He can rush the passer. He had 6.5 sacks last year, and he had 60 tackles combined. But I'd like him more as an off-the-ball defender. He kind of reminds me a lot of another former Bulldog in Tommy Davis. So I think that this would be a really good move and start to actually rebuild that defense, because the offense is going to be basically just run it a couple times and then punt for the most part until we get that receiver later in this draft.
All right, sir. So we're going to talk a little bit more about your pick of Jalen Walker here as we take you off the board so that you can make also the 9th pick. That is the pick of the New Orleans Saints. Wayne, I need to ask this question of you, sir. Again, I know you've been doing this much longer than any of the rest of us have, so I'm curious to hear your answer here. If you know you have the 32nd ranked defense, do you really build from the draft or do you build in free agency?
Probably the draft, because if you have the 32nd ranked defense, nobody wants to go there in free agency. So you're usually going to be picking from the scraps and hoping that somebody hits. And then from the draft, you're hoping that you can get an elite player in the first couple of rounds to build off of, maybe get you into the 20s on defense, and then start attracting some free agents to just fill it out.
I would have never looked at it that way, as the free agents don't want to come there. That's really insightful from you. They caught me off guard a little bit with that one. I was like, wow, okay, good deal. But you're 100% right. I mean, if I'm a free agent, I'm not wanting to go to a place that I know is terrible, right? I would, even if they're offering me a ton of money, I probably still wouldn't do it. So very good insight by you. Cheese, I want to go to you for a second and ask kind of the similar question here as far as this goes. So Georgia, I tell you what, fill in the blank. The Georgia Bulldogs are known for their blank.
They're known for their getting a lot of people drafted. I think it's that simple. As far as what you're saying a second ago, Jalen Walker, I don't know if he's the best off-ball linebacker. He's so dynamic. I kind of like him as a pass rush better. He's an unbelievable speed pass rusher. He can win with speed. He needs to learn a few more moves, but I don't love his instincts when he drops in coverage. But I guess what you were implying, Michael, I just realized what you're implying. You're implying defense. You wanted me to say defense, didn't you?
I don't care what you say, sir. This is, I'm going to tell you, this show is, I don't want to say it's weird for me, but it's a little awkward for me because, as you know, you've been on one of the shows with us. Gabriel's been on the shows with us before. We have been on Wayne's shows. It's the first time he's been over here with us, and we certainly are appreciative of that. But 9 times out of 10, these shows are pretty well scripted, right? We know what we're going to talk about from back and forth and everything else. And I couldn't do it with this particular show because I don't know who you guys are going to pick. So it's really hard for me to go through and script it. So now I've got to off the cuff come up with these. Stop laughing up there, Gabriel. I see you. So I got to come up with these off the cuff questions. And, you're right. Sometimes you don't go exactly where I want you to go. But that's fine. But I want you guys' opinions. That's why we brought you on the show. That's why we had you guys come on and pick. And I appreciate all of the insight that all of you are doing today. Gabriel, I'm going to keep with that theme for a moment. Is Georgia the best college football factory to the NFL right now?
Oh, right now, I would say probably. And I guess if we're going to kind of piggyback off your prior question, I would say certainly running back. They produce a lot of NFL running backs, and then, outside linebackers, D line, they go there. All time, it's USC. And USC is doing a very good job in the recruiting stages now, particularly in high school, getting a lot of really great young talent. So I think that pendulum, and I think Coach Smart's program is going to take a half tick back. So I think between that, we're going to see the pendulum swing back to, okay, USC is once again a true kind of factory. But right now, Georgia would certainly be up there. Ohio State, you'd have to give a shout as well. But yeah, they're up there.
All right. So let's take this off the board. Let's get everybody back up here where we all need to be. Let's put Med back up. He had the last pick with the Carolina Panthers, and he also has this pick for the New Orleans Saints. So with the 9th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the New Orleans Saints select LSU offensive tackle Will Campbell. All right. So before we ask Med why and what you want to do there, Cheese, I'm going to take you off the board. You will be doing the 10th pick. And I will tell everybody we will pause for just a moment after this 10th pick, and we'll talk to Cheese individually, get all of his social medias and things going, and then we'll jump back in to our draft. So let's remove Cheese, and then let's ask Med. Will Campbell, he is in a lot of draft boards, he's picked a lot higher than this. Why do you think that he has fallen this far?
Honestly, I don't know because what you have with Will Campbell is you have a franchise tackle. The only real quap that a lot of people have with him is his arms are short. You can, if that's the case, move him on the inside. But this is still a guy who played over 3,000 snaps and only allowed 4 sacks and only a handful of pressures more. I mean, this guy's about as solid as you can really get as far as a prospect goes. And, you know, I'm not really big on Shedeur Sanders. I think that he is, you know, to just say what Ricky Logan said about Hunter, hyped. And with what happened in the bowl game against BYU, that sent up a huge red flag for me. I mean, he did not play that well. And to me, if you at this point, the best player on the board is Will Campbell at this moment, I might as well go ahead and build up my line and get ready for the Arch Manning sweepstakes. Because if I already had his granddaddy play here, why not have Arch Manning play in New Orleans?
All right. So I kind of wish I didn't take Cheese off the board here for a second. I was going to give all of his combine results. And I know Cheese does a lot of that stuff with combine. But Wayne, I know you do a lot of research for all this stuff as well, sir. So let me give you some combine numbers for Will Campbell, and then you give us some comments on those numbers, if you would, please. 40-yard dash was 4.98. He had a 10-yard split of 1.76. His vertical jump was at 32, and his broad jump, 9.5. That's a pretty freakish athlete for somebody who's 6'6", 320, isn't it?
Yes. And I mean, when you're talking about the second one, that was the shuttle, correct? You're talking about his lateral movement, which is where he can actually shuffle left to right, which is what you want to do whenever you're playing up against an edge rusher. Phenomenal. I mean, you're talking about a 320-pound brick wall running less than 5 seconds. Like, what would you hate to be the safety that is in front of this guy and having to take on that block? I mean,
yes. Yeah, right. So now Med is really, really excited about this pick. He was so excited that I asked Wayne for his opinion, and Med just jumped right in there and said, "To heck
I'm
with
sorry,
you, Wayne. I'm taking this from you, buddy." So Wayne, talk to me a little bit about this, about everything that we got going on with the combine with Will Campbell, and tell me how much of a freakish athlete, or where you would put him at on that freak athlete scale. There we go.
He's a very good athlete. I wouldn't say I don't like to use the term freak athlete unless we're talking about somebody like Jadeveon Clowney, who at 6'6" was running a 4.35, 40. That's a freak, or Nick Emanwari, I think his name is the safety this year from South Carolina. He's a freak, Will Campbell's very good, and I think that his tape is very good, and I like it a lot. I don't think he's a sure thing at tackle. I think he's very good at tackle. I think like Joe Alt was a sure thing. And Will Campbell's not Joe Alt, or he would have been a top 5 pick, It comes down to fit. I disagree. I think with the selection, I do like Shedeur Sanders here. I do think Shedeur Sanders is the best quarterback in the draft. I think that he's got the highest IQ we've seen probably in the last 10 years for a quarterback, maybe going back to Andrew Luck. He reads defenses so quickly, and he gets the ball out so quickly, always in the right spot. I think he's going to be the best quarterback here. I think that the Saints' dream scenario is that he's there. I think teams know that if they want to get him, they have to jump ahead of the Saints.
But don't the Saints now need a quarterback with everything that's going on with their current quarterback?
Exactly, yeah. You got Derek Carr, who's 34 and he's hurt, and then you got Spencer Rattler, who didn't really show much last year. So I think Sanders is the guy that they're hoping will be there when they pick at 9.
All right. Gabriel, LSU often put Campbell out there on the island all by himself and basically said, here it is, buddy, handle it. And he did a relatively good job with it. I mean, he has a little bit of a different stance when he comes off the line. And, as Med already pointed out, one of the other knocks on him is the length of his arms. But, I mean, if those are the only 2 knocks you can get off a guy like this, that's the guy you take in a heartbeat, right, Gabriel?
Yeah, I think so. And particularly what I like is, you're in the SEC, and so you get to see how he goes up against those opposing defensive lines. A lot of people are making too much of his arms being short, or his hands, or his moon sign, or whatever the case may be. I don't really care about much of any of that. How'd you do in games? That's what I'm focused on. And he's going to be fine. He's going to be fine. Like, The thing about people knocking him for his arm size, like, this isn't a new development for him. He's had his arm size and played at this level for quite a long time last I checked, so he's gonna be fine.
Right, he knows how to play with short arms. He's like the Tyrannosaurus Rex back in the day, right? He understands what that's like.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to give you guys a little bit of a break because I know we're going here for a long time. We got almost 150 people with us live right now, so that is fantastic. We appreciate all of those. Let's pull Cheese back up on the stage with us, and he has the number 10 pick. We'll kind of let him go for a second. If you guys need to take a restroom break or something like that, pause, go do that, because I'm going to talk to Cheese for a moment and get all of his social media things and give you guys a little bit of a break. But before we do that, let's do this. With the 10th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Chicago Bears select tight end Tyler Warren, Penn State. Cheese, why are the Chicago Bears going offense with this number 10 pick?
The Bears had a plan in the offseason. We're going to put as much talent around Caleb Williams as possible. The rookie season didn't go like we thought. We improved the offensive line. Let's go get a tight end. We do have Cole Kmet, but Tyler Warren is an upgrade. We could play 12 personnel. He's a great athlete. He's kind of a Swiss Army knife of tight ends. He can take direct snaps. He can do a tush push. He even threw some passes. Great athlete, unbelievable size, can block. He's just one of those players that every locker room needs. High character, super positive. I don't want him to go to the Bears, but it'd be a great pick. Great value here.
Now, why don't you want him to go to the Bears, sir?
Because he's really good.
All right. We had to put our bias aside there for these picks here, and I appreciate all of you guys doing it, because it is kind of hard to pick people in your same division and be like, oh, I don't want this guy. Oh, I don't want that guy to go to my team, or I don't want to see this guy, 2 Sundays a year. But you guys are doing a fantastic job, and I appreciate that. We took Gabriel off screen because he is doing the 11th pick. That is the pick of the San Francisco 49ers. So he has roughly 4 minutes to make that pick. Med, here we go. We're getting Caleb Williams some more weapons. Do you think in Chicago it is more important to get Caleb Williams more weapons, or is it more important to get Caleb Williams more protection?
I think they addressed the protection aspect over in the offseason. Free agency, I mean, a lot of people consider that the Bears actually won free agency this past year. We went out and got Pro Bowl caliber guard with a 4th-round pick. We went and traded for Jackson from the LA Rams, and then we also signed the best center that is on free agency this past season. And I mean, he finally invested in it. And you do need to have. I do agree that Warren would be a upgrade over Kmet. I mean, and then you can run double tights. I mean, this guy is being compared. Some people, I use it. I'm just saying, I've heard this from other podcasters that they're saying that Tyler Warren could potentially be the next Gronk or Travis Kelce. And I mean, he has the body size for it. And, like he said, he was a Swiss Army knife. He was a former quarterback. So, I mean, he could do pretty much anything you want for him in that offense.
All right. Now, Cheese, I want to go back to you for just a second, because I said we would get all your socials and stuff. We're going to take some time to get everybody's. We're going to start with yours, sir. I know you have an X account. What is that account for, sir?
It's at Football Cheese. So instead of football with cheese, take out the with. So just at football and then CHEEZ.
All right. And so the with gets added to your YouTube account, right? What is that account for, sir?
Yep, Football with Cheese, where we go over everything football. We think analytically, we think outside the box. We go over new trends, and of course, we focus heavily on the NFL draft.
All right. So between now and the NFL draft, Cheese, give me a couple of things that you're going to put up on YouTube that people can go see on your YouTube account, Football with Cheese.
Okay. Well, today I released my top 100. So that was fun. And tomorrow, I'm actually going to do a video about what I would do if I was a general manager, how I would approach the draft, every round, the whole off season, all of that. Thursday morning, I'm going to do my final mock. And then Friday morning, I'm going to do my second round mock after the first round is over.
All right. Well, you've impressed me. I didn't realize you could count to 100, sir. So good job, sir. You did your top 100, and we're good to go.
Yeah, I just learned. I just learned the other day. So thank you.
All right, fantastic. Probably you had a calculator. We can't see the desk in front of you, right? So you had to, right? I got all my notes in front of me that nobody can see, so we're good to go. All right, Wayne. Hey, let's go to you for a moment, Wayne, and these Chicago Bears. If the Chicago Bears, I tell you what, I'll do a fill in the blank with you, Wayne. If the Chicago Bears have a good draft, the 2025 season will be blank for the Bears.
A success. I mean, this team has a lot of really good pieces in place already. Like Med said, they built out the offensive line. It's solid now. So Caleb Williams isn't going to have to run for his life, which means you get a guy with maybe the most arm talent in the NFL besides Patrick Mahomes. Lots of time, and he's going to destroy you. They do need some more offensive weapons. I do understand that Tyler Warren, like I mentioned, they want to trade up to get Genty, potentially. I wouldn't have been surprised if Omari and Hampton was the pick here, to get another running back. But I do think it's going to be offense for them in the first round. And I do think that this is a team that could win the NFC North next year.
All right. Well, you're giving them a
Wow.
shot at the division. So
Wow.
I like you, Wayne.
You're really good division.
All right. That was good. Okay. So
Lions fans are like, what?
They've been like, what? For the last 30 years.
Yeah.
well, that's true. They've had what, 2 good seasons in the past how many? So, we you got to do it for a little while first before we can, say it's great, right? All right, let's bring Gabriel back up on the stage. He is picking number 11 for the San Francisco 49ers. Before we put his pick out there, let's also say that the Dallas Cowboys picked 12. And you've put Med in a really good mood by saying how great his Chicago Bears are. So now he's going to go off stage here, and he's going to make that 12th pick for the Dallas Cowboys. All right, Gabriel. So this is what you decided to do. We're going to put Med on the clock here, and then we will make your announcement. I think this is going to surprise some people here, too. You're just the surprise guy today, buddy. Here we go, right? I've had to listen to Ron Wolfley say this guy's name over and over and over again here locally, that he wants the Arizona Cardinals to pick this guy. But from where you're at, he's going to be gone before the Cardinals ever get on the board. With the 11th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the San Francisco 49ers select Kelvin Banks Jr. Gabriel, why Kelvin Banks Jr.? Is this, we're following the Ashton Gentry thing, right? This is a little too high for him, isn't it? I think you're muted, sir. I can't see.
I was. So apologies. Here's my biggest pet peeve in all of these things: is there'll be someone who's graded out as, say, for example, they need to be like around an 8th or 8 to 10, and then if they get draft 7th, oh my goodness, what a reach! No, like the 49ers, they need interior help, and they need it bad. I understand that there are some people who are concerned about him, but I don't know. We made this pick because we have access to the University of Texas football games. I don't know if the rest of the nation does. This guy's a tank. This guy's a monster. He's going to be someone that can help keep our 1-year Brock Purdy window open before we have to make another decision. So we're going to cash in on that now.
Wow, our 1-year Brock Purdy window, huh?
Yeah, isn't that how many years that's off the top of my head? I should know as the GM, I suppose. But right, isn't that how many years is left on his rookie deal?
It's okay, sir. You were same GM that picked for the Browns earlier, so you're okay. You're just batting 1,000, sir. We're good. All right. Cheese, I'm going to go up the line to you here. The San Francisco 49ers, do you think they reach here with this pick, or do you like this pick for this particular team?
I think this is a major reach. I'm not as high on Banks as some people. He has had trouble on film sustaining blocks. He's got to get better hand placement. He's got to get stronger in the upper body. Because, I mean, he's a good pass protector, but there are times where he just doesn't sustain blocks. So I think he's more of a late first round. He's got good enough length and he's a good athlete, but I think this is a reach.
Wayne, I'm going to stick with the same question. How far of a reach is this? Is this a reach at all, in your opinion? Where do you fall as far as Kelvin Banks Jr. From Texas for the San Francisco 49ers here at pick number 11?
I don't think it's a huge reach. I mean, it might be a little bit. I think Armand Bembo is considered ahead of him on a lot of draft boards. I'm not a Bembo fan personally. I think he projects to me more as a guard than a tackle. But maybe that's how you're going to use Banks anyways. I mean, you mentioned needing help on the inside. Obviously, you could start him off at guard and then, when Williams retires, move him out to tackle, or maybe start him at right tackle instead of Colton McKivitz, and then move him to left tackle. He can learn a little bit from Trent Williams, who's 37 years old. So, I mean, they do need help at tackle eventually. I mean, it doesn't help, Brock Purdy right now, like I said, unless you're going to play him at guard, or move McKivitz.
Okay. So, yeah, I understand all of that. I don't think it's a reach, but I also like the fact that these guys play for some of these big teams, and when they do, they show up. I have to say that I did watch, as Gabriel was pointing out earlier, I've seen some Texas games. I got some family who are in the area, and when I saw him play, especially in those bigger games, I thought that he did really well as far as playing in those big shots. Let's take a few seconds off of this board. Really took a few seconds off the board. I hit it a little early there. All right, so we're going to bring Med back up on the stage. We're also going to go back to where we've got everybody up here. He has already made the pick, and I think each and every one of us on this board could have made this pick. This one may be the easiest one in this draft. Here we go. With the 12th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Dallas Cowboys select Texas wide receiver Matthew Golden. All right, so real quick, before you start, we'll put Miami Dolphins on the clock. Wayne will put you off stage here for just a second, let you go down and make that pick for the Miami Dolphins at number 13. And then I'll go back to you, Med, because as I was saying that this was going to be the easiest one, I saw your face kind of go, I'm not sure if it's the easiest one or not. So tell me why you didn't think it was the easiest one. Did you think about some other players besides Matthew Golden in this spot?
Well, I mean, me personally, I think I know that they need a running back. Jatavia Williams and Miles Sanders are not going to be the answer, but this is a running back deep draft, so we could probably address that in the second round. Overall, I think this was a little bit easier than what most people would probably pick. I mean, when you think of the Dallas Cowboys, you think they're going to sling it 40, 50 times a game. So when I look at Matthew Golden, I basically see a CD Lamb clone, just faster. I mean, the man ran a 4.3 40, which was only bested by Maxwell Harston with a 4.28. So you got the speed. He's got hands. I mean, he proved that he is a hard worker. He came from Houston, came to Texas, basically for the most part carried the offense in some ways, because when you first think of what Texas did last year, the first person you usually think about is how Matthew Golden was able to just pop off the film. I mean, 17 yards per catch, 58 catches. I mean, he had an excellent year.
All right, and I guess we had to go to Dallas to get us up over the 150 people live with us right now, because we've done it. We have over 150 people with us right now. We appreciate each and every one of them. Gabriel, I want to ask you this. Matthew Golden only had 738 yards in a 2024 season, only had 8 touchdowns. Is that worthy of the number 12 pick for the Dallas Cowboys?
I'm not too worried about that. You're trying to evaluate how the players did within their given role. Let me just say this: Quinn Ewers had a lot of games where it was like, oh my goodness, what are we even doing? And there was a reason why there was a shout for Arch Manning in a lot of games. He just wasn't on the same page, and the offense wasn't clicking in a lot of moments. So the fact that, a wide receiver, because of that, will now have something of a low production year, I'm not going to hold that against him. How does he look at his one-on-ones? How is he looking now? Is he healthy? And then again, how does he interview once we actually meet him face to face? How do his coaches talk about him? That's what's more important to me. I'm not going to just blindly look at the numbers.
All right. So, Cheese, we had this conversation a couple of picks ago where we talked about, need versus want. Would you say that the wide receiver room is one that needs to improve in Dallas, and that's why Med went this route?
No, it definitely needs to improve. Here's the thing with Matthew Golden, okay? He kind of came on as the season went on. That's why his numbers don't look great. Isaiah Bond was the featured receiver early on.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is the biggest reach so far in this draft. I don't think he's a top 30 player. I don't think he plays to the 4.28 40 at all. I think he's more of a 4.5 guy on the field. And he just looks like a really good slot to me. I don't think he's a deep threat. And there's just not enough a sample size of him being like amazing for me to use a top 20 pick or a top 25 pick on Golden. I have him like my 6th best receiver. If you check out my video on my channel in this class. So
yeah, shameless plug right there, but that's
Oh.
okay.
That was plug of the year. That was well done.
Just slid it in there.
Yeah, just oh, by the way, you can go to my YouTube channel. I'm surprised you didn't say what the YouTube channel was called again.
But great route runner, great after the catch. I mean, he's not a bad player. I don't dislike him. It's just this is way too high for me. But Dallas loves to draft need in the first round, so this could absolutely be the pick.
All right, so Ben, I want to give you a chance to kind of take up for yourself here a little bit. Did you draft this guy off of talent, or did you draft him off of need?
I drafted him more. I drafted him more off talent. I mean, like you said, it was a small sample size, and yeah, he came on later in the season, but it's what he was able to do in those games. And like I said, the 9 touchdowns for the whole season, that's including the postseason. I think that he has, I think that with the new coach, Schottenheimer, I believe, he's going to really throw the ball. And I think, you could go with Luther Burden III, which I love his playing style. He has a great catching radius, but overall speed kills.
All right, so that'll be an interesting topic to get to here just a little bit when we do some more on different receivers as they get plugged away here later on in this draft. Let's take everything back here for just a moment. Put everybody up here. Let's also add Wayne and Cheese before. I want to leave you up here because I actually want to get right to you before you go back. I'm still going to put you on the clock here for a second. All right, just for the sake of time, because I don't want this to get too far away from us here. But our numbers keep climbing, so people are loving it. And by the way, we follow here at the 643 and Out Pod on our X account. Yeah, shameless plug, but got it in there. Good job. So we are right now, of all of those people that we're following, all 6,000 and some people that we follow. You know how Twitter puts all of the shows that they're doing right now live up in the top corner. We're number 1, just so you know. So fantastic. I appreciate each and every one of you. We are trending really well right at the moment with this great football analysis. Now, I will say this, and I want to see what's going to happen here. Cheese, you said that was the biggest reach so far. Let's see if you still have that opinion after this pick. So Wayne has decided that with the 14th pick, right? No, I'm sorry, with the 13th pick, because you're picking for the Dolphins. Look at this, man. I'm messing this all up. So with the 13th pick, In the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Miami Dolphins select Mississippi tackle Walter Nolan. Cheese? I'll give you about 30 seconds here, then we're going to take you off the screen. Which one's the bigger reach? Nolan?
Golden.
Or Golden?
Matthew Golden. Matthew Golden's a bigger reach.
Wow. Okay.
No, Walter Nolan he's a stud. You watch his film, he's great. The biggest issue with him, the only real issue, is there are some rumors that he's not a great locker room guy, not a great teammate. So I think I have him in the 20s, but he's a top 15 talent in this class.
All right. Fantastic. I'm going to take you off screen, then I'm going to go to Wayne. Wayne, so Cheese gave you a pretty good reprieve there. I was looking at some other draft boards as we're kind of going back and forth, and I can see the pick that you make, and I try to get some things put together real quick. None of the other draft boards have Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle from Mississippi, near this high. Why did you choose him this high, sir?
Well, sometimes it depends on who goes where, right? I mean, there could be a guy who is projected 9th overall and he ends up going 22nd just because there's a run of wide receivers or there's a run of corners or whatever it is. Obviously, nobody's expecting Ashton Genty to go number 2 overall, so so a lot of different things can happen in the draft.
I wasn't even sure the guy who picked him was expecting him to go that high overall, but that's okay.
But in this scenario, basically, it could have gone one of two ways with the Miami Dolphins. They need help in the secondary, and they need help in the middle of their defensive line. So if I had gone secondary, then maybe Nolan slips another 5-10 picks. But in this case, because basically they've got speed on the outside, they took Chop Robinson last year. They've got Jalen Phillips. They got Bradley Chubb. But in the middle of their defensive line, they've got Benito Jones and Matt Dickerson. It's just not cutting it. So you get a guy like Nolan in there, day one starter, right? And you're going to clog the run game so that your speed guys on the outside can get to the quarterback in the pass game.
Okay, so we talked about this a little bit ago before I let you go here. You did this more off of need then than talent, or was I taking that last statement wrong, Wayne?
It's a combination of both. They do need interior defensive line help, and Walter Nolan is an exceptional talent, but they also need secondary help, and there's some talent on the board that way. I just decided to go defensive line instead of secondary.
Okay, I got you. Med, I'm going to come up here to you for just a second.
Okay.
Walter Nolan, Mississippi. Do you think because maybe he was at Mississippi in the talented division that they all play in, did he get as much love as he should have?
I don't think. Well, I mean, when you watch how Ole Miss was able to actually play their games and everything, this guy was one of the two people that were really popped on their defense. I mean, three guys, because Trey Amos, but also Princely Obermelin was a really good one too. But Walter Nolan, they were moving all over the place, and he can create mismatches pretty much throughout the whole line. I actually like this pick a lot. I mean, I hope he can block too, because Tua is going to one hit away from drinking his dinner. But other than that, I mean, I like this pick a lot because, yeah, he's right. I mean, they need interior defensive help.
Yeah, I was listening to your podcast earlier. Actually, you used that same line about Tua drinking his. Well, what was the line that you just used? That was pretty good.
Drinking his dinner.
Yeah, drinking his dinner. We don't want that to happen. So,
No.
Yeah. We'll get to you here in just a second, sir, but I want to make sure we keep this moving pretty fast here. So, all right, let's put everybody back up here on the board. Indianapolis is the team that we're doing right now. And Med, I'm going to take you off the board pretty quick because you are going to be choosing next, and that will be the 15th pick. We'll be almost halfway through our draft with the Atlanta Falcons. All right, let's add Cheese back up here. And we are cranking here, gentlemen. We are getting close to 200 now. We have really picked up steam here in the last few minutes. So appreciate all of that and appreciate everyone that's jumping on board with us. Once again, you can put your comments over here on the right-hand side of the screen, and we will get to them as well. Like I say, as long as you're talking about what we're talking about, then we're going to be good to go. So, Cheese has decided that with the number 14th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Indianapolis Colts have selected Michigan tight end, Colston Loveland. So that's the second tight end, Cheese. Is Colston Loveland the second tight end on your board? You're muted, I think, sir. Cheese.
I don't know how that happened.
There we go.
So this was an unusual situation. There are 4 players that I had pretty much ranked the same. And they are Shamar Stewart, Armand Membo, Colston Loveland, and and Michael Williams. So I had to make a decision. So I went with the biggest need. And the Colts had probably the worst tight end group in the NFL last year. Loveland is so fluid. He runs great routes. He's just like a big wide receiver, but at tight end, kind of the mold of maybe a good comp's Greg Olson, who played for the Bears and Panthers. But he's a little more athletic, maybe a little better after the catch. The Colts really need another weapon, especially at tight end. So as much as I love Shamar Stewart and Membo, God, how is Armand Membo still here? They could really use some offensive line help. Loveland's a bigger need.
All right. Gabriel, we didn't get to you the last time around, so I want to make sure we get to you this time around. When you look at the tight end, what are you looking for? Give me 2 or 3 things. Is it blocking? Is it the catching? Is it, he has to have good hands because that's the guy we throw the 3-yard strike to. He has to make sure he gets us that first down. What are you looking for in a tight end, Gabriel?
No, listen, I'm more old school when it comes to the tight end. In my opinion, we classify and we're labeling a lot of people as tight ends who are glorified slot receivers, and that's fine. If that's your function in the offense, and that's you produce, you rack up yards, that's fine. But for me, a tight end has to be able to block. That's half of the job, and you have to be able to block well, and you have to be able to get out in space and be able to handle some of the mismatches. At least make it so that it's not an immediate TFL. That's how I view it. And then obviously also the catching, the being able to go out, run, have a variety on your route tree. That's part of the modern tight end as well. Obviously, it's more so leaning toward that end with the current offenses, but I believe it was Cheese earlier said, there's a lot of stuff, going the other way now. We're in terms of trends, in terms of the pendulum. So for me, I'd rather go with someone who has more of that well-roundedness. Tyler Warren. I watch a couple of Penn State games. I'm not going to say that he's not a blocker. I'll just say for sure his strength is getting out in space and great hands and his versatility in that regard. So Tyler Warren for what I just said would be something of an exception to that statement. But yeah, for sure, if you can get someone at this position, you have to take it. Who you feel is good, you just have to go with him.
All right. Wayne, let's go to you for a second. Let's talk about the tight ends. When you're evaluating a tight end, what's the big thing that you look for on tape as far as a tight end goes, Wayne?
It's definitely versatility, right? I mean, obviously size is great, and Loveland has that. He's 6'6", so you would like to see the size, but you don't have to be huge. I look for effort, right? Are you gonna contribute in the running game, or are you just gonna kind of tap somebody with your hands and run out? Are you gonna engage? And so, we're not doing a full draft here. A guy that I think my favorite tight end in this draft is Harold Fannin Jr. out of Bowling Green. He's a guy who I think is the best tight end in this draft. I don't care. He's going to go in the 3rd or 4th round, but he's 6'3". He blocks like a tackle, and he can split out like, Daniel Graham. He just happens to be 6'3" instead of 6'6". If he was 6'6", we're probably talking about him in the 1st round. But that's the thing I think everyone looks for is the size. For me, I look for the effort in run blocking, because Rob Gronkowski, who usually is the guy that people put as the Mount Rushmore #1 guy in tight end, was basically a 6th offensive lineman, and
Yes.
he was a great receiver. So that's what I look for is the effort in run blocking.
Fantastic. All right, so the pick is in. Let's put everybody back up here. If I would use the right mouse. I've got so many computers, I forget which mouse I'm trying to use. And every once in a while, it's like, that's not working. Well, yeah, because you're using the wrong mouse, dummy. All right, now that I've got the right one, we click it, we get everybody up here. Let's see here. So this is the pick for the Atlanta Falcons. Gabriel, you're going to be picking for the Arizona Cardinals. So let me take you off of the screen here for just a moment. Put these four guys back up here, and let's put Gabriel on the clock right away. Here we go. The Atlanta Falcons have that 15th pick. And, of course, that was done by Med. And he decided that with the 15th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Atlanta Falcons select another Georgia Bulldog, this time edge, Mykel Williams. Med, why did you choose Mykel Williams here for the Atlanta Falcons?
It basically comes off of scheme. You look at his size, he is 6'5", 260 pounds. He fits your prototypical 4-3 defensive end as far as that goes. He has a lot more potential than anything. And when you look at the Atlanta Falcons, the one thing you can actually say about them is that they are just been horrible for the last 7 years rushing the passer. Every other team in the NFL right now has 197 sacks, except for Atlanta, who has 167. And they also are ranking dead last in quarterback pressures. So by getting Mykel Williams here, and yes, I understand that Mike Green is still on the board, but also at the same time in questions with Mike Green, he played against, other than the Ohio State game, which he did great in, he played against Sun Belt competition. So I would rather have someone that's been playing up against the big dogs, basically since he's been there. So Mykel Williams, mainly because I think that he will grow with a 4-3 defense.
All right. So, Med, I'm going to give you a shot here. If you want to go off camera for a minute and go do whatever you need to do, we'll get back to you here in just a moment. I'm going to talk to Gabriel when he comes back on. We'll get his social medias and stuff like that. So, however you would like to do that. I know sometimes it's hard to sit in that chair for a long length of time. But right. Cheese, he brought up a good point. When you're looking at, Mykel Williams, or you're possibly looking at a guy from a college that isn't in the SEC or isn't in the Big Ten, how do you evaluate them side by side when the players they're playing up against don't have the side-by-side talent?
Well, first I just want to say, as far as tight end goes, some teams are comfortable if you're not a great blocker, and some aren't. Like Travis Kelce's never been a great blocker. The Chiefs don't care. So to answer your question, it's tough. I love when a small school guy gets invited to the Senior Bowl. I even heard the Senior Bowl director said that he'll favor a small school if it's close, so they can go up against better competition. Like Gray Zabel dominated the Senior Bowl, so I feel good about using a top 20 pick on him, the offensive lineman from North Dakota State. Mm-hmm. So, and you also look at almost every small school guy will play 1 or 2 games versus a Power 4 team. And that's a really important game for that player. And basically, if he doesn't do well in that game and dominates the rest of them, well, then, I might lower him down on my board.
Okay. Wayne, I'm going to ask you pretty much the same question, because I think this is going to be a very interesting question coming from you. Again, with all this experience that you've got and the different schemes and the different videos and that you have watched, I mean, I'm sure when you begin watching film, it was VHS, right?
No, I think I've always been DVDs. I think.
Okay. So what about that? Trying to evaluate talent from a smaller school and a bigger school, Wayne. What do you think about that, and how do you do it, sir?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think that's where the combine comes in huge, right? Because you get to see how fast these guys are, how fast their competition is, right? I mean, maybe you saw a guy at Marshall or, Louisville, or not that Louisville's a small school, but like one of these smaller schools that, they toasted every corner that they played against. Well, you get to actually see them run the 40. And if they run a 4.55, then they're just playing against slow corners, right? So you have to kind of take that into account. So I think that the combine plays a lot into it with the small school guys. And I actually take the opposite approach of Cheese, and actually, I don't mind if they don't play well against good competition. I want to see them play good against their own competition, because if they play better against the good competition than they did against their own, it's easy to get up for that game. If you're playing Ohio State amidst a bunch of Georgia Techs, like Georgia Southerns or something like that, it's easy to get up for that Ohio State game, right? And so did you just dog it? Do you just play up to your competition? So you'll play against Ohio State tough, but then when you go back into your conference, you dog it. That's something that I would look at. And then as it relates to Mike Green, I think the off the field stuff is the stuff that's going to push him down draft boards.
All right. All right, let's pull Gabriel back up here. He made that pick. We'll get this off. Click the right buttons, Valentine, and by golly, it'll work. All right. So, Gabriel, let's talk about you for a second, buddy, before we'll take a little bit of a pause here for just a moment. Tell us, what is the Sports Pulse Collective?
Yeah, really what we're right now focusing on is kind of, exploring and seeing what a lot of other content creators are doing in this space. And I enjoy when I can, having other people on who are doing great things. And earlier today we had someone from London, for example. He's exploring a podcast where he's exploring the culture of soccer. So that's right now the focus of what we're doing at Sports Pulse 100. And we're I'll say it individually, I'm at a couple different spots with my writing efforts. So try to support as many platforms there as possible, including We Like Sports PC. I think I got that right. Sports with a Z.
Right. Sports with a Z and a PC at the end, right? So We Like Sports, PC.com. That's right. That's where myself, Gabriel, write for, and we appreciate them providing us with the platform here to do this with. Gabriel's got the next 3 picks, so I'm going to take Gabriel off the board for just a minute. Yeah, he's got like a triple stack here. So he's
get rid of him.
16 with.
Just get rid of him for 15 minutes. Bye bye.
See you, buddy.
Wait, what?
16 with the Cardinals.
Go
17
make a
with
sandwich.
the Bengals, and then 18 with the Seattle Seahawks. So, man, I'm gonna take you off this board, man. They're being really mean to you, which. But anyway, we'll put you on the board for your second pick, as I tell everybody here, and we'll see how they react to the pick that you made for the Arizona Cardinals. And with the 16th pick, we are halfway done in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special. The Arizona Cardinals have selected Josh Simmons. All right. So now you guys get to react to this. Wayne, I'm going to start up there with you. Josh Simmons to the Arizona Cardinals at number 16. What are your initial thoughts, sir?
I mean, he's a good tackle. I'm surprised that we went Simmons over Membo. Again, he's still sitting on the board, for tackle position. But I do like Simmons. I think that the Cardinals are a weird team. I mean, they took, Paris Johnson, was it? Paris Johnson?
Yeah,
or something?
Paris Johnson, Ohio State.
Last year or so to protect Kyler Murray, who's 5'4", so you need to have as much protection around him as possible. I do like Kyler Murray. I think he's got a great arm. I think he's an electric player. He can't stay on the field. But I don't know. The Cardinals are such a weird team to me, man. I don't know, if they pick anybody that's going to help them get away from like the 15th, 16th pick. I feel like they're always going to be there. They just never seem to get over that hump. But as far as the pick itself, again, I'm surprised we went with Simmons over Membo, but I do like Simmons.
All right. So, Cheese, I'm going to drop down to you in one spot. So Ohio State is known for a lot, but are they known for offensive tackle? And if they are, how good is Josh Simmons from the Ohio State Buckeyes?
Well, Orlando Pace worked out. So
Yes, he did.
there you go. I mean, anyone Gen Z is like, who? Josh Simmons, if he didn't get hurt, this is probably the range he would go in. I think he'd go in, probably the 12 to 20 range. But he did get hurt. As far as the Cardinals go, Jonah Williams isn't the future right tackle. They'll need to get someone. But like Wayne said, Armand Membo would be a great fit for them at right tackle. They need guard help. They really need defensive line help. Their defensive line's really bad. But I actually have Josh Simmons 18 on my board, so I have no problem with him going in this range.
All right, but you put the butt on him, right? So Med, when you put a butt on somebody, does that automatically drop him down on your board when you're looking at other players that don't have butts?
Well, I mean,
Yeah, you can take that joke all day if you
Yeah.
like. Go right ahead, sir.
those well, I mean, like when I'm sitting here and I'm thinking of Josh Simmons. I mean, he's talented. He is a very nasty. I always think that your nastiest players on the field should be your offensive linemen. But I agree with Cheese on the fact that I think that there was some other areas that needed more to be addressed, like defensive line. I mean, that is, you got all these edge rushers, but you didn't really do anything for you actual interior linemen. But I mean, still, Josh Simmons is a great pickup. And yes, I agree with both Wayne and Cheese that I'm kind of surprised that Mimbo is still on here. But yeah, no, I mean, I like Josh Simmons. I think that if he didn't get hurt, he would be probably a top 10 pick, if anything.
Well,
Real quick, Michael.
No, go ahead.
Real
buddy, go
quick,
ahead.
if you don't. I just realized we never asked Med what he thought of my Tyler Warren pick. Is that what you would have done? We never asked you that.
No.
What would you have done?
I would actually have looked at potentially getting an edge, so that way you can pair him up with Montez Sweat, and that way you can actually, because you look at the quarterback situations that are in the NFC North, you want to be able to put pressure on the quarterback. That's how you get a great pass defense.
Which edge would you have taken?
The two that I'm actually looking at right now that I think would fit the system that they have would be Michael Williams, believe it or not, or James Pierce Jr.
Okay.
All right. So let's see. We've talked about the same guy over and over again. Is he still going to be on the board? Gabriel gets the next pick and the next pick. So you know what? We're just going to keep Gabriel down there in the dark. We're not going to do anything else.
Just stay down.
Yeah. Just calm down.
Go in the
there.
basement.
Right, you're in the basement. You probably live in your mom's basement anyway, Gabriel. It's okay. You got that baby face and everything else. So you just stay down there, man.
Dimples.
Dimples.
Hey, he's the best looking of all of us. So
There you go.
He probably gets all the girls. So.
Right, he probably does. I mean, that's why we make fun of you. But you've probably got all the pictures to prove us wrong. So. All right, so we'll give him some airtime here in just a moment when he does the third pick, and we'll just let him do all of them together, okay? We'll just crank this thing right along, get this thing started right back up again. And we mentioned the person that he is going to take at number 17 with the Cincinnati Bengals. That person that we mentioned is this, because with the 17th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Cincinnati Bengals choose edge rusher James Pierce Jr. Med, you mentioned him. I'll let you talk about him first. What do you think of James Pierce Jr. and how is he going to fit in with the Cincinnati Bengals?
I think he's going to fit in great because if you ever watch the video on him, he has great explosion. He runs a 4.59 40. And whenever he attacks, one of the things I used to teach my players when I was coaching was you don't want to do the same move over and over again. The tackle will be able to counter that with no problem. I literally watched a few of his games where he didn't do the same thing. He would either come with a rip, he would come with a swim, or he'll just bull rush. He is what I consider what I would call a 5-tool bag as far as like what he can do for this defensive front. He's a really good, he's a great player. He just has some off the field stuff that, most people would say push it down.
All right. So Med gives him a pretty good liking to there. Cheese, do you agree? Yeah. And what I would really want to ask you is, I know you look at tape a lot because I watched a lot of your YouTubes, and you can plug that again if you really want to, and we'll make fun of you for it again, but that's okay. So when you watch the film on them and you see a lineman that has multiple moves, which would you rather have? A lineman that has multiple decent moves or a lineman that has one or two moves that are really, really good?
Oh, one or two moves are really, really good if they have length. I want length on my edge rusher. I want to be able to get off blocks. That's really important to me. Athletic and length, you can teach them more moves. But as far as James Pierce Jr. goes, I'm not trying to play devil's advocate here, but, well, first of all, he ran a 4.47, okay? At 6'5", 245, insane speed. He has speed. And his pass rush win rate was insane. Okay. But there are character concerns. There's rumors he's not the best locker room guy. I even heard the word, like I said, this is a rumor, lazy. And he did his best work against the worst competition. So as talented as he is a risk for me. So I could see him going this high, but I could see him falling in the second round.
Interesting. So you could see him falling all the way to the second round.
Yep.
All right, Wayne, do you agree with that? Could you see Pierce Jr. falling all the way to the second round?
I think so. I mean, he's excuse me, he's slid quite a bit already. I mean, this is a guy who, the much too early 2025 drafts, when they came out after the 2024 draft, he was projected, top 8. I mean, he was going to be like this star. Now we're talking about him in the 20s. So he's already slid quite a bit. So I wouldn't be surprised if Cooper DeJean can slide out of the first round, then I wouldn't be surprised if James Pierce does. But I also wouldn't be surprised. Again, this is a great pick for the Bengals, who desperately need edge rusher. Again, they stay away from Mike Green, another person with off the field issues. So I guess you pick your poison. You want a lazy guy or somebody who gets in trouble with the law. It's kind of, you got to pick which one you want. The Bengals with Pac-Man Jones have never shied away from, the criminal type. So I would think Mike Green would be a better fit for them there. But I do like James Pierce. I like the idea of an edge rusher here in Cincinnati.
Chris Henry too.
Yeah. I mean, we got to throw Chad Johnson in there. We got to throw, there's all kinds of stuff we can throw in. That's
some Cincy cat.
I think it's Ocho Cinco. I think it's Ocho.
Is that what his name is now?
Yeah.
Maybe he's changed it back 4 or 5 times. I don't know. All right. Well, I think we're going to make a bunch of people happy with this pick, sir. I've already seen it. Let's take a few seconds off this clock, because since you're 16 in a row. Let's pull you up here, put you up on the stage for us. You now have the Seattle Seahawks to pick from. Let me also say here that at this point, it is the 19th pick in the draft. Tampa Bay has that, and Med has Tampa Bay, so we'll bid him adieu for just a moment, put him in his little draft room, and have him do that pick. Gabriel, we've kind of ignored you for a little bit, buddy. Did your mom make you some good soup or something, or what happened there, bud?
I have a lot of questions after this show about the level of discourse that happened when I was gone.
Well, that's okay, sir. That's fine. So the Seattle Seahawks, with that 18th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, have selected Armand Membuo, right? Isn't that how you say it? Membuo, I believe?
Membu.
Membu? Is it just Membu? All right. Yeah. There's no more O's after the O's? Okay, got it. Gabriel, I'm going to give you the floor for a minute, buddy, because you have made 3 picks. You made the Arizona Cardinal pick, you made the Cincinnati Bengals pick, and now you made the Seahawks pick. Give us 35, 40 seconds on each one, buddy. Start with the Arizona Cardinals pick that you did there. You had the Arizona Cardinals picking Josh Simmons. Why'd you do that?
Sure thing. Yeah. This is what this is an area of need, I would say, for the Cardinals is shoring up the offensive line and helping out Kyler Murray. And Kyler Murray, he's someone who's mobile, who will extend plays. I would say at times when he maybe doesn't need to, but by the same token, the offensive line is what I view as the most critical area, maybe not, or the most important area of the field. So it's been porous at times for him. So I at the same token, I can't necessarily blame him for saying, "Yeah, I'm gonna get the hell out of here and try to make a play." So Josh Simmons, these players, they'll be at one position in college, and they may have to be amendable. They may have to be flexible. He's someone who I feel like they could definitely potentially put out there and help shore up that unit. And in terms of him versus Membu, give me the Big Ten all day, baby. That's where true football's played. James Pierce Jr., he's someone I've been high on anyway. Really like him. I understand the concerns there. But as Stadium Rants Wayne eloquently said, they don't seem to have a problem with it. So it's fine. It's absolutely fine. really, really explosive guy. He's got a lot of big play potential. So like I said, I've liked him since pretty early on with Tennessee here. Um, it's definitely an area of need. Let's just call it what it is, especially with what may or may not happen with Trey Hendrickson here. And then Membu. Listen, we made a couple gaffes up to this point. I'll admit it. This hasn't been my best product, but by smartly putting Josh Simmons 16 and now Membu 18, I now have increased the value of this Seattle Seahawks pick.
Well, the Seahawks are winning the draft, yeah.
All right, Chief. So what do you think about those 3 picks? Let's kind of put them all together in a package deal and tell me what you think about those 3 picks that Gabriel has made.
Yep, Simmons is a risk because of the injury. Pierce is a risk because of character. So I don't think they're going to go this high, but you never know. Once you get past 10, 11 this draft, it's going to be a free-for-all. So, I don't think Membu has any chance of falling this far. He will not fall this far. He's just too good. He's such a good run blocker. I think he's a plug-and-play right tackle. But if this happens, Seattle will be ecstatic. In fact, if he falls past like 13 or 14, they're probably moving up because they have 2 seconds and 2/3. So they would move up for someone like him, and it's a great pick. He's a great fit for their scheme, and they really need offensive line help more than any team maybe in this draft.
All right. So, Wayne, tell me which one of these 3 picks that you dislike the most.
Probably Simmons, because you could have gone Membo there. I think it would have been a better fit than Simmons, to the Cardinals. But I mean, again, I understand you go with what you go with. Membo obviously is the best pick here. Where the Seahawks will be doing backflips in the war room if that actually happened. But no, I think Simmons would be my least favorite. Membo is obviously my favorite, and then I guess Pierce falls in the middle.
Okay, great. We got just a few seconds left here. We'll wait for that clicker to tone down here, and while all that happens, we'll put Med back on the board. All right, Med up on the board. We'll put everybody back over here where they belong, and then Tampa Bay is here, and then Wayne will do some of your social media stuff here in just a moment after you do the Denver Bronco pick. So I'll take you off the board here for just a moment, and I will tell the rest of the people involved here that once we get to that spot here, if you guys, again, we'll give you a little bit of a break. I'll take you off screen if you would like, and you can do what you need to do there and get everything put together. So let's put Wayne on the board with that 20th pick for the Denver Broncos. I'm sure our buddy is out there right now watching. We had our Denver guy on the Sportz Truth last week. He did a fantastic job. We appreciate him coming on there with us. Dak did a great job with us there. So let's go ahead and do this. For the first time, it took 19 picks, but we finally got somebody from Alabama on the board. Alabama. All right. I won't do the Kid Rock version of Alabama. I'll let that one go. This is a PG show, okay? So with the 19th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers select linebacker Jihad Campbell, Alabama. I'm actually going to go a different route this time, Matt. I'm going to have you wait for just a second. Chiefs, Alabama. We finally got somebody from Alabama. But is this the best player that Alabama has that's going to be in this draft?
Yeah.
Well, that was anticlimactic, but all right.
No, I love Jihad. I love Jihad Campbell. He's so athletic, so explosive. He's an unbelievable blitzer. He's got great instincts. This is a great pick for Tampa. Heir apparent to Levante David. I think I have him 13 on the board, Jihad Campbell. I think that much of him. But he could fall here because off-ball linebacker is just not typically a priority position in the first round. But Yeah, he's an absolute stud.
All right, so then he is the best player from Alabama in this round. Gabriel, going to drop down to you there. I'm going to give Med the floor at the end and just let him talk about this pick here. But Gabriel, we talked about Ohio State. We talked about Georgia. Has Alabama fallen off a little bit here in the last couple of years with the rise of Georgia and the rise of Ohio State, some of these other programs?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a secret that they've taken a half step, maybe even a full step back since Nick Saban's retirement. And that's awesome because, I'm not particularly a fan of them. So that's fine by me. That being said, they're still going to get a lot of talent. They're still going to be able to produce people that are going to go in the first, second round of the NFL. So even though they're not at that apex anymore, something like this is still very much in the cards for the foreseeable future.
All right, fantastic, Med. Now, before you start, can you go back over to that wall one more time?
Okay, one more time.
People may have missed. Yeah, I want to.
The rivalry's building already
Right?
in this
I want to
podcast.
see
Rivalry's
what you got
building.
here. All right, so there's garage sale material right there on that wall.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, what? 18 national titles. I mean, we can go on and on about it. So I mean, my dad was recruited by Bear Bryant. So
Cool.
Well, that's pretty cool. That's a nice story.
Very cool.
All right, so you got about a minute and a half to go here. Why did you pick Jahad Campbell, and why do you think the Tampa Bay Buccaneers will want him at this spot?
Well, Levante David is nearing the end of his career. And I mean, he's going to be 35 years old at the end of this season, possibly 36. Jahad Campbell has the ability to be a Hall of Famer. I'm just going ahead and putting it out there because you look at what he's been able to do, even as an off the ball defender, as a middle linebacker, he had 12 tackles for loss last year, which is insane. He was recruited as an edge rusher, but he already had 2 first-round picks that were in front of him with Dallas Turner and then Willie Anderson. So they move him to middle linebacker so they can just get him on the field, and he flourished. He was a tone setter right from the get-go. He loves to hit. I mean, he's fast. Watch him. I mean, the dude is that good. And unless he, God forbid, has an injury or something, I can see him having an extremely successful career in the NFL.
All right, we are at basically a little over 2 hours here, and we need 14 more people to join us live to get to 200. So we are pushing for that right at the moment. That was my personal goal, was to get this up to 200 sometime during this podcast. Tell all your friends, Cheese, tell both of yours, and maybe we can get them. There you go. Get that phone going there. I'm sure it's a flip phone. So get everything we got, and we're gonna put Gabriel off of the line here for just a moment. We're gonna add Wayne back to it. Gabriel will have the next pick with the Pittsburgh Steelers, doing that one at number 21. Before we do the pick here, buddy, I want to ask Wayne. Put him up here on the board, really nice there. Nice football background there behind you, buddy. So give us your social medias, man. Where can we find you at to get that 20 years experience that you have with everything that you're doing sports-wise, bud?
Yeah, I mean on Twitter or X, it's Wayne_Gregoire, which is Gregoire. And then I have an author page on Facebook. Again, Wayne Gregoire. If you can spell the last name, you can find me. I have not figured out how to use Instagram yet, so I'm a little old in that sense. And don't have a YouTube channel currently. I used to have, again, the NFL experts were on there, and we've taken a bit of a break. So, but definitely, I'm very active on Twitter. If you follow me, I always follow back 100% of the time. I do go through my follows and make sure if anybody kind of like follows me and then stops following. Every week I go through and unfollow people who unfollowed me and get the follow. But
I need to do that.
If people are following me, then I follow them. So Wayne Gregoire, I post all my articles on there. I write, again, for Stadium Rant, and I used to write 2 articles a day. Now I'm down to like 2 a week, but I've been busy with editing and stuff like that.
All right, Wayne. You didn't send me your pick, buddy. So while we're talking everything, that's okay. So if you'll send me that, I'll announce it. Okay.
They lose
So-
the pick. They lose it. Steelers are on the clock. Broncos are
Right.
done.
The Steelers
Like
are
the
on the
Minnesota
clock.
Vikings
We
at one
can
time.
do that, right? We can put the graphic up there that Ricky Logan did for us. And while we're doing that, let's plug our sponsor for tonight's show, Rowdy Nights Club Mushroom Coffee. You can go to @Rowdy, that's ROWDY _Nights with an S. So KNIGTS. And they also do the hashtag Rowdy in my cup. Now, not only is this a coffee company, but they can also, you can put it in water. 8 to 10 ounces of water is what they suggest. And that gives you, believe it or not, 200 megagrams of protein. Milligrams, not megagrams. I don't know what a megagram is, but I don't know. We're making up new terms as we go along here. So, all right. Let us see here. The pick is in. This is an interesting pick, but I think it's one that everyone kind of sees coming here with the Denver Broncos. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, with the 20th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Denver Broncos select University of North Carolina running back Omarion Hampton. Did I say that right? Omarion, was that right?
Yep, that's correct.
Oh, look at me. Well, I tell you what, every once in a while, even a
Finally.
blind squirrel finds a nut, so we're good. Oh, Wayne, is he the second best running back behind Gentry in this draft?
He is. He's the only other one I would consider as a first round pick. And again, I don't like drafting any running backs in the first round, but they are going to go in the first round. So I do like him here for Denver. Obviously, they've got Jaleel McLaughlin and Audric Estime are their two starting running backs. Bo Nix played great last year, better than I thought he would. I hated the pick when they took him. I thought this guy's a check down quarterback with a weak arm, but that's who Sean Payton likes. He made a Hall of Famer out of Drew Brees. So, why not Bo Nix? So I do think Bo Nix played great. He needs more weapons. He's got a couple of receivers there. Needs a running back. Desperately needs a running back. The best friend any quarterback can have is not your left tackle. It is a good running game. And so I think that they go out, they get Hampton. Not only can he run the ball really well, which he does, but he's also good in the receiving game as well. So, and he's going to catch a lot of those, swing passes and screen passes from Bo Nix. He'll probably have, I'd say probably 40 receptions as a rookie.
Wow. All right. So he can catch the ball. He can run the ball. But man, I've, Cheese and I have kind of gone back and forth on the internet a little bit with this. It's kind of a running joke with us. But I'm not sure if I would put Mr. Hampton as the second best running back. I'm going to give Cheese a moment to tell me where he ranks in his running back room, because I know, on that YouTube channel he likes to plug. I'm sure he's already done some running backs there as well, right? Have you done that, Cheese?
I did the running backs. My list is very
Yeah.
different from consensus from a lot of the people on TV. I have Hampton third. I think there's inconsistent vision there that worries me. I mean, he's an athletic freak. He'll run you over. He's good in the pass game, but I just love Quinshon Judkins. I think his upside's tremendous. He's a freak athlete. He breaks tackles, great in the goal line. And Omarion Hampton, I have no problem with this pick. It's a good fit. I just think there's better players on the board. And the Broncos pick in the second round, you can find a running back there. Scadaboo might be there in the second round. So the value of running back here, as far as like second and even third round, I just may go receiver, defensive line instead.
Okay, so you would say no, Hampton is not the second best running back. Wayne says yes. Med, guess what you get to do? You get to be the deciding factor here, sir. You got a little less than a minute. Tell us who you like as a second running back and why.
To me, it is Hampton. In fact, everything that Wayne said, normally there's like one or two things I hear and I'm like, but no, 100%. He's pretty much put it all out there. He can catch out. He is a 3 down back. Judkins is too. But no, Hampton is a little bit faster. He's a great power back, can run between the tackles. Judkins can do that too. But the speed aspect that he has, I could see him pulling away from people. So, I mean, I really do. This is like the perfect fit, like what the Colts did with tight end. So,
Okay. I'm going to disagree with all of you, but I'm going to let the buzzer go off first. And, I will admit to the fact that I'm a little bit biased. I watched him all season long. Man, I just love the way he plays. I love the way that he goes about his business. And, of course, I'm talking about Cam Scatterboo. That's my guy, man. I can't wait to see him play in the NFL. I can't wait to see him truck some people over. And I think whoever gets him in the third or fourth round, because I know he's not going to go in the first round. I don't have that expectation. But I do think that, as we were talking about earlier, running back is something that you can pick up in the latter rounds in this draft. And I think whoever gets Cam Scatterboo is going to be really happy with that production that he puts up. All right.
I have him fourth.
So,
I have him fourth on my board, so
number 4.
I love Scatterboo. Dane Brugler has him 12th, and Daniel Jeremiah has him 102 on his board. I think that's insane.
Wow, there's a big difference in between the two. I won't make fun of anybody else's age because I'm just as old as everybody else on this panel. So I won't do that to you guys. All right, so Gabriel is picking again, and he's doing so for the Pittsburgh Steelers. So with the 21st pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Pittsburgh Steelers select Colorado quarterback Shedeur Sanders. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Come on, Gabriel. I was waiting for something crazy.
Wait, what?
I was waiting
Are
for
you not entertained?
center. We were wondering if you're going to draft a center.
Right? I thought maybe you'd go, somebody from, I don't know, Jackson State or something.
I did.
Well, okay. That was a little bit of a faux pas there. All right. So Wayne, you get the next pick, buddy. It is on the LA Chargers. I can see you staring down at your notes. You just can't wait to make this pick. So I'm going to put you off the board here for just a second while you get ready to do that. And I'm sorry you're not going to be able to make fun of Gabriel with the rest of us. Okay. All right. So let's put Wayne on the board. There we go. He is now on the clock. Gabriel, are the Pittsburgh Steelers really, really happy that Shedeur Sanders fell all the way to 21 and almost fell in their lap here?
Oh yeah. They don't have a quarterback. And even if they, for some reason, were to convince themselves that Aaron Rodgers is an upgrade from last year, first of all, good luck. But second of all, again, you don't have a quarterback. You currently have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. Now, I like Mason Rudolph enough. He needs to be your QB too, though. I think he's someone who can come in and manage a game and, kind of preserve a win. But he can't. He's obviously not your franchise guy. So yeah, Shedeur Sanders coming to Pittsburgh. I like it. We know he can handle, the conditions. Boulder, not exactly a year-round summer paradise. And then more importantly, the whole issue that people have with Shedeur Sanders. Now, I have my criticisms of him that are football related. The whole thing about Shedeur Sanders and why you can't draft him and et cetera, is because of his father, Coach Prime. I know you love that term, Michael. That doesn't happen with Mike Tomlin. Like, he's running the Pittsburgh Steelers. So if there's any reporter or if Coach Sanders is supposedly demanding stuff of the offense or whatever you may have, Coach Tomlin will say something in effect of, yes, thank you for your time, but we will handle that from here, and that's the end of it. So if he were to end up falling here to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Coach Tomlin is better equipped than everyone, maybe outside of Bill Belichick, to be able to handle that aspect of the situation.
All right, we certainly appreciate. There are a lot of people out there reposting us, liking us, and everything else. We have almost gotten to my goal here. We are at 196, so we need 4 more people to get us to that 200 mark with everybody being here. And maybe it's because I haven't said it the right way. You need to be here live with us on the 2025 draft special here on the Sportz Truth, brought to you by the 643 and out guys. All right, Med, I want to ask you this. If the Shedeur Sanders show comes to Pittsburgh, what's going to happen in Pittsburgh with all this attention that you know that Shedeur's going to want and need?
I think he'll be fine. Talking about like his who his dad is and everything like that. He grew up seeing this throughout his whole life, and he's going in a pretty decent situation. You got DK Metcalf over there now. You got George Pickens, who is a very solid number 2 receiver, cast as a number 1 before this. But no, they are in the throngs of the rebuild. I mean, the only knock really I have on Shedeur is, besides his arm strength, is he's extremely accurate. He reminds me of Chad Pennington in a lot of ways, but he holds on to the ball way too long sometimes. And he will take a 5-yard, what would be a 5-yard loss, or just throw it away. Just throw it away the ball. And he'll take like a 10, 12-yard loss instead.
All right, so Cheese, I'm going to go to you, and I'm going to piggyback off Med there for a second, because I saw you shaking your head when he said that he holds the ball way too long. Isn't that something that you can get him into your system and you can teach him how to correct that? I mean, that as long as you have the athleticism and stuff, that's what you're after. Small things like that you can correct, right?
Yeah, I think you can correct it. Well, he's tough. He'll take the hit. So that's one thing. But hold on, he will take the hit. And the dude never turns the ball over. You could go, I watched him a lot. There were games, 3 or 4 games where he didn't even commit a turnover. So he's very efficient. The big problem I have with Sanders is he can't make every throw. A lot of his 25 to 35 yard outs just flutter. They don't have zip on it. And you got to be able to make every throw to be a real elite quarterback. So I think his ceiling is limited. So I have him more as a 2nd round pick, but I could see the Steelers taking him because they have to get a quarterback.
All right, so let's go over this real quick here. There are the picks. Cam Ward went 1. Ashton Gentry went 2 to the Browns. The Giants chose Travis Hunter. New England got Abdul Carter. Jacksonville Jaguars did Mason Graham. They are Las Vegas Raiders. Took the receiver's name that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. New York Jets went with Will Johnson. Carolina Panthers, Jalen Walker. New Orleans Saints with Will Campbell. And the Chicago Bears went with Tyler Warren. So we'll put all of that stuff back up here. Then we'll show you where we went with 11 through 20. Got everybody back up here with us, with the exception of Wayne. So let's make that no exception anymore, because Wayne just made the big pick. Drop this down. There we go. I'm going to tell you right now, I like this pick. I'm not a big Chargers guy, but I think this will work out really well for them. I applaud Wayne for this pick. Here we go. With the 22nd pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Los Angeles Chargers choose edge rusher Mike Green. Wayne, tell us why you chose Mike Green here and how he fits in with the Chargers.
Yeah, I think he fits in absolutely fantastic. I mean, you have to look at the fact that their 4 starting defensive linemen right now, according to their depth chart, had a combined 2 sacks last year. They have, Bosa's gone, so they need edge rush help. And so Mike Green's the best edge rusher on the board. I mean, he has been for the last couple of picks. And I think that, Jim Harbaugh is the guy that's going to be like, or Jim Harbaugh is the guy that's going to be like, he's a no nonsense guy. I think he can rein in Mike Green. And I think that it's a perfect fit. So him on one side, Khalil Mack on the other.
All right. We're going to, I see that, buddy. I like this. So Cheese has already made his pick. And he's still up here on the board, and he's already done it. So
this is run the podium kind of pick. Like this player is there.
Just run back to the podium. All right. You're going to make me hurt myself and pull a hamstring or something as I'm going back up there. But so I tell you what, you are doing Green Bay, Minnesota, and Houston. So now I have a question for you. Can you do all three in the 5 minutes?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
All right, so let's put you on the board. Let's get the timer going, and we'll crank off a little bit of time off of this here. I do see we got a couple comments. I'll get to those here in just a second. Cheese, let's put you on the clock, and then let's take you off of the screen. We'll talk about all three of those picks here in just a moment. All right, so once again, Cheese is going to make the Green Bay Packers pick. He's going to make the Minnesota Vikings pick, and he's going to do the Houston Texans pick. That would be picks 23, 24, and 25, all at the same time here within the next 4 minutes and 33 seconds. Let's go over here to a couple of the comments that we've got. Let's put those up here on the board as well. Can't believe it's taking him this long to put comments up here, buddy. He's usually right on this. He must have had to work late. All right, so there's both comments there. We will take care of that. Go back over here to where we need to be. And, oh, wait, I need to take that back off. Sorry about that. I don't mean to cover you up, Wayne. There we go. We got to see that beautiful smiling face there. Can't cover up Wayne too long, so let's start with Wayne. Wayne, Packers, Vikings, Texans. Which one has to make sure that they get this draft pick right?
Looking over my notes here, I'm gonna say probably the Packers. I mean, the other two teams. I mean, C.J. Stroud struggled last year, but they don't really need a lot of help on the offensive side. It's more on the defensive side of things. So I think the Packers are the ones that really need to hit something here because Jordan Love needs to get over that hump. He's been to the playoffs now 2 years, hasn't quite gotten to the Super Bowl. He was my MVP and Super Bowl pick this past year. I think a lot of people picked Green Bay to go to represent the NFC in the Super Bowl, and they just didn't do it. And I think that he fell short. They need to get him some help, whether it's on the defensive side of the ball or the offensive side of the ball. He definitely needs some help. And the last thing I'll say, actually, I did want to compliment Gabriel for his Shedeur Sanders pick. I think it was a fantastic pick. Shedeur Sanders, like I said, I think he's the best quarterback in the draft. I think he's definitely got the highest IQ of any quarterback in the draft. I think that you put him on a team with Mike Tomlin where the run game dominates and the defense is what wins you the games, not the offense. And, he's going to have an amazing career. I mean, think Brock Purdy on steroids.
Wow. All right. So you think that, I'll go back to you just for a second, Wayne. You think that that's a really good marriage then, is the Mike Tomlin marriage along with the Shedeur Sanders?
I think Mike Tomlin would have to have wished on a star every day for his entire life for this to happen in order for it to happen.
All right. I like it. I like it a lot, actually. So, Gabriel, we'll go up to you for a minute. You made that pick. So, I heard Cheese say that Sanders can't make all the throws. Do you agree with that? Can Shedeur make all the throws, or where do you put him at as far as accurate? Well, maybe not accuracy, but we'll just stick with it. Can he make all the throws?
Well, as Wayne just said, when you wish upon a star. No. But in terms of Shedeur, I am worried about what he's been used to at Colorado and how that carries over to the NFL. I think that's a valid concern. Can he make all the throws? Listen, just like anything else, you can develop and you can be able to have all the throws available in your arsenal. Right now, I would definitely say it's limited. But again, as Wayne said, if he were to fall to Pittsburgh, this would be one of the better situations that he could ask for himself, for sure.
All right. So, Med, what do you think about the relationship that's going to come between Shedeur Sanders and the Pittsburgh organization as a whole? Because they're known for kind of a no nonsense kind of deal, right? So, do you think that gives them, I don't want to say a pass, but that gives them maybe the right to say no to Shedeur Sanders and try to get a quarterback later on in the draft? I think you're muted, man.
Yeah, no, I muted it over there. Yeah, no, I'm looking at this comment right here where it's talking about him being on an Arthur Smith offense. That's the way I kind of look at it. But yeah, no, I I think Shador Sanders will be one of the players that, you know, when he goes into a situation, I think Mike Tomlin has that kind of respect that you're going to see with a lot of people for what he has been able to do in his career. So I think I think Sanders will be fine.
All right, so there's your Arthur Smith offense comment that you could see. So, yeah, I wanted to make sure we put it up there for everybody. Fantastic. We appreciate all of those who are giving us the comments and participating with us. We appreciate it very much. Oh, come on now. 199. That's where we're at right now. 199. All right, so see if we can break that mark. If I do some kind of crazy dance over here, we've probably done it. All right. Okay, so let's crazy dance time. That didn't take long. 200. Fantastic. I appreciate everybody out there giving us 200 on live streaming. So fantastic. Thank you all very much for doing that. We certainly appreciate it. All of us here on the stage, Cheese, Wayne, Gabriel, Med, and myself. Thank you very much for telling us that you like what we're talking about. That's all we're doing right now. 5 guys talking about a sport that we love. All right. Speaking of a sport that we love, Cheese was able to make 3 different picks. So let's do all 3 of them in succession. Here we go. So with the 23rd pick, his very own Green Bay Packers select Shamar Stewart, edge rusher, Texas A&M. Let's go with the 24th pick, where the Minnesota Vikings take Kenneth Grant, defensive tackle, Michigan. And with the next pick, Houston Texans take the 25th pick, and they select Gray Zabel. Is it Zabel or Zabel? You're muted again, Cheese, but you said Zabel, right? He's like,
Zabel.
I'm muting myself again.
It was Zabel.
All right, Zabel, offensive line, North Dakota State. Well, we've got to talk about North Dakota State here in a moment. But, Cheese, talk to me about the Packers pick first, sir.
Shamar Stewart is about as athletic as you get. He's an absolute freak. The biggest issue with him is the production wasn't there. He didn't necessarily get people on the ground, but he got pressure. He's long, incredible length, incredible athlete. If you put him on pass rushing downs inside, rush him on the edge on early downs, put him on inside, he will destroy every guard and center in the league with his quickness. And he's already an elite run defender. When people say he's the biggest risk in the draft, I don't think so, because he's already a great run defender. He just has to get better at production, getting people on the ground. But this is a no-brainer. This guy should be long gone based on his traits.
All right, so talk to us about the pick that you made with the Minnesota Vikings. Who was that pick, and why did you pick them right there with Minnesota?
I'll go quick with these two so other people can respond. Kenneth Grant's a nose tackle. He's so athletic for 330. He moves like a 270-pounder. He dominated in the Ohio State game, absolutely dominated. When he gets tired, he tends to play a little high. There may be some conditioning issues, but his best film is dominant. And Gray Zabel dominated the Senior Bowl. Houston needs offensive line so bad. You can play him at left guard from day one. I thought he'd go higher than this.
All right, and then the third, the guy from North Dakota State. Talk to me about him and what he is going to mean to the Houston Texans, Chiefs.
Well, like I just said, Texans need probably 2 or 3 starting offensive linemen. And to me, despite North Dakota State, he's a safe pick. I think he can play center. He can play guard. I think they'll play him at left guard. I think that's his best position. But he could even play center. Everyone at the Senior Bowl wanted to go up against him, and no one could beat him on any rep. And the rep is designed for the pass rusher to win, but he won every single time. So these 3 picks are no-brainers to me. Fit needs for all 3 teams.
All right, Wayne, I'm gonna do a little something. We're gonna cross reference here from basketball to football for a second. Gonzaga came out of kind of nowhere and became kind of the Cinderella story in basketball there for a while. And they still are in this to a certain extent. Has North Dakota State kind of done the same thing in football?
No, because Gonzaga did it at the Division I level, and North Dakota State has dominated like the Division II or whatever, 1AA. They've been like dominating it for years. They're not really a shocker. I mean, again, you can put them up against Division I teams. They might do okay, but I mean, obviously you got Trey Lance's from there. A bunch of guys come from there that do really well, but I don't consider them in the same level as Gonzaga. You know, to me, the Gonzaga would be like in college football, like an Oklahoma State or something like that, who's like been good. If they were to become really good, that would be like a Gonzaga story.
Gotcha. All right. So, Matt, I'm going to go to you for a second here. North Dakota State, we've talked about them for a moment. Let's stay on that path for a second. Trey Lance didn't do real well in the NFL. Does that bode well for Gray here as far as how he's going to do in the NFL? Is it a program thing at North Dakota State, or is it a mindset from a player personnel individual?
I think it's more of a position thing. With offensive line, you typically, whenever you're an offensive lineman, you're going to, whatever you go up against someone, it's going to be the same kind of repetition. I think with Trey Lance, it was more he just wasn't ready. And, you know, you could say the same thing about Carson Wentz, who had one really good year with Philly and then just fell off after he got hurt. But, you know, there's also been other, I think Munch is one of the guys over in Tampa Bay. He came from North Dakota State, and he's done really well too. So, I mean, the program itself is actually really good. But also, like Wayne said, it's not up there to the Gonzaga standard, but they have been dominating Division I AA or whatever it is.
Okay.
Christian Watson as well, wide receiver, Green Bay.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Well, we just had to throw the Green Bay guy in there real quick, didn't we?
I had a follow-up question for Cheese, actually, about Shamar Stewart. I know you said he's really good against the run, lack of production. And that makes me think of Jadeveon Clowney, right? Clowney was great against the run in college, a freak athlete at the combine, right? And I think people pigeonholed him thinking, oh, he's long and he's fast. He's going to get 15 sacks a season. He's not a pass rusher. He's a strong side run-stopping defensive end. Mm-hmm. If you were to get Jadeveon Clowney production from Shamar Stewart, would you be happy with that?
Yeah. At 23, yeah. At 10, no. 23, yeah. That's a great comp. Both of them just don't have that bend, you know, that you want at an edge rusher. But real quick, like I said, Stewart, I would love to use him on pass rush downs inside against guards and centers. And he's just going to be quicker than them, more athletic than them. That's how I want to use him as a pass rusher.
Yeah, and I actually had Shamar Stewart in my mock draft going to the Packers as well, so I 100% agree with this.
Oh, isn't that
There's
nice?
Packer fan. We're getting along.
Right, we're all going to put on cheese heads and dance a little bit or something here. All right, Gabriel. So you have chosen the pick for the LA Rams at number 26, and with that 26th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the LA Rams have chosen Luther Burden III. Is this a little bit of a reach here, buddy? Why did you choose Luther Burden III?
Oh, not at all a reach. Listen, the Rams are all in. They know that they have something here. They are building off of last season. And Matthew Stafford is still the quarterback, just lost Cooper Kupp. This is someone who can fill in that role seamlessly. Give him another option. All Buddy does is get open and then create a lot of yards after the catch. This is exactly what the Rams need.
All right, exactly what the Rams need.
Okay.
Wow.
I agree with Wayne. I so agree with Wayne, but anyway.
Calm down up there, Wayne. Jeez. I mean, we're going to put Gabriel back in the basement again, for God's sake. So, Wayne, I'll give you the floor. Your thumbs down in this pick over there. Why are you so adamant against this pick, Wayne?
It's nothing against Luther Burden. I don't think it's a reach at all. I think he's still on the board. He's a very good receiver. But I mean, I'm looking at their team. You said they lost Cooper Kupp. They picked up Devontae Adams. He's going to make up for that. So they've got Tutu Atwell. They've got Puka Nacua. They've got a decent receiving core. What they really needed is linebacker help and especially cornerback. I thought Jahdae Barron here would have been a great pick. But yeah, I'm puzzled by the going with a receiver.
All right. So puzzled about going with the receiver. Med, I'm going to let you take this for a second. Are you puzzled by this pick as well, or do you like this pick for the LA Rams, sir?
I mean, it's an all right pick, and in my mock draft, I had Jahdae Barron going here as well. So, I mean, I just, Gabe, I love you, bro. but
Oh my goodness.
There's a butt coming. I can hear it now.
Yeah, I'm thinking that they could, like Wayne said, linebacker help, definitely cornerback help, because they were only one drive away from beating Philadelphia. Let's just put that out there. But maybe even defensive line help. I think really this particular position, it doesn't really make sense to me. Tight end, you could probably went with Mason Taylor, but other than that, that's all I could think of, man. He's a great receiver. I think he's really good and he will kill it, but
all right, Gabriel. So you also get to make the next pick, right? So you are picking for the Baltimore Ravens as well. I'll give you a couple seconds here. You want to wrap up your pick about the Rams, and then we'll take you off stage, let you do the Baltimore Ravens pick. And we're going to do something a little different with the Ravens. We're actually going to talk about who we all think the Ravens should pick, and then we'll put you on the spot and see what you say.
Oh, great.
Yeah. I think it sounds fun. I really do.
Yeah. Yeah, it's all good when Luther is in Los Angeles catching 800 plus and 6 tutties for your Los Angeles Rams. All of these moments will come back to bite the 3 fine gentlemen in the yard.
What in the world is a tutty? I mean, it sounds like something you clutch at your bed at night. What in the world is that?
Oh my goodness. I don't know if
Michael's-
I'm allowed to speak anymore.
Okay, well, good. That means I'm going to take you off stage, and we're going to talk about the Baltimore Ravens and see what they should get. All right, so we're going to remove Gabriel. We're going to go back here to the clock. We will put that thing going. And Cheese, I'll start with you. The Baltimore Ravens, fill in this blank for me. I like these. The Baltimore Ravens need what position with this pick?
Their biggest need is offensive line. Maybe defensive line as well. Real quick, I'm going to defend Gabriel a second here. Luther Burden, if you're getting the 2023 version, that's a steal. The problem is he wasn't as good in 24 or as consistent. So he was unbelievable in 2023. He's maybe as good as any receiver in this class with the ball in his hand. But the Ravens. Okay.
Keep going.
sorry.
No, just the Ravens.
That was Gabriel crying. You didn't know, but that was Gabriel crying in the background.
I was trying to defend him. I get why he did the pick. The Rams need back 7 help on defense. That's their biggest weakness. But I think the Ravens go offense or defensive line. I think those are their biggest needs.
All right, sir. Let's go one up from you there. Wayne is next in line. Wayne, what do the Ravens need to get from this pick?
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I mean, I think, front 7 help or offensive line, particularly interior offensive line. They need help. I do like Booker here from Alabama. If he decides to go that route, I think that'd be a good fit here. Or here's a crazy one because the Ravens do like to take corners. And I'm not a big fan of Chidobe Azui or whatever, however you say his name. So again, Jahdae Barron would be a really great pick here for the Ravens. But I think I would probably go with Booker from Alabama.
All right. Med, I'm going to give you the floor here. The Baltimore Ravens are on the clock. If you were picking, who would you choose from what's left on the draft board?
I love the Booker pick as far as that goes, because I am not going to lie, I was looking at him for one of the other teams. But also at the same time, the defense really missed a lot when Patrick Queen went up to Pittsburgh and Geno Stone went to Cincinnati. I think you could probably get something. There's no real linebacker that you could really get right now. And I mean, you could get a safety, but do you really want to get one? And I mean, you got two really good ones on the board as well with Starks and Eman Mori, but the Booker one is the one that I think is the biggest shine.
All right. So this is Gabriel's last pick of the draft. So he doesn't have any more picks for the rest of the way. So I'm going to put everybody on the spot here for a second, and then we'll bring Gabriel on, and he can tell us who his pick is. Med, I'm going to start with you. Who would you pick for the Ravens right now? And I've already got it typed in. I know what the pick is. He can't change it now.
I would actually go with Tyler Booker.
All right.
Get the road grader.
Okay. Wayne, what about yourself, sir?
Yeah, same thing. Tyler Booker.
Cheese, you going to go with Tyler Booker as well? Or are you going to do something different?
They need a left guard. Tyler Booker would be a perfect fit. However, the Ravens like to take the best player on the board.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't necessarily need Kyle Hamilton. They didn't necessarily need Nate Wiggins, best player on the board. Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon.
All right. So Gabriel has a couple different things he can go with. Gabriel, it's your last pick. So I'm going to bring you up here, and I'm going to let you tell them who you chose because they have not mentioned this guy's name the entire conversation. So you go right ahead and tell us who and why you picked him, buddy.
Yeah, I definitely feel like I was set up to fail, but it's fine. It's been the theme of this show, so it's fine. We are going with the 27th overall pick from the University of Ole Miss, Princely Umanamilan. And I hear what you're saying. You know, that's not the name that was said prior to Gabriel coming on the screen. And you're right, but it's fine. It's absolutely fine. Why? The 2000s Baltimore Ravens, right? That's not a red panda. That's not a thing of the past. They're not extinct. They are in full force. It's making a comeback. They are going to be a force to be reckoned with in the AFC North for years to come. Bring in that edge rusher. Bring him in. What a pick. Wow. I'm going to applaud myself.
Well, you're going to be the only person that applauds yourself, so you may as well go ahead and do it. Cheese, I'll give you about 30 seconds because you have the next pick, sir, and then we'll take you off the board here, buddy. Go ahead.
He's athletic and productive. He doesn't have great strength. This is probably 50 picks too high. Probably situational pass rusher. I like the guy. I like watching his film, but wow.
Is this now the biggest reach to you? Is this?
Oh, yeah.
This eclipsed my Matthew Golden earlier?
Oh, Matthew Golden was like 20 picks. This is like 50.
Oh my God.
Oh, poor Gabriel.
Oh
well, at
my
least
God.
he doesn't have
He
any
can't
more
play the
picks,
run. Princely can't play the run. He can't be in a run situations. He doesn't have the strength. He's got to be a designated pass rusher. So, yeah.
So then that means he's a rotational guy, right, Chief?
Correct. I mean, if you're Mike Green or James Pierce Jr., okay, if they're designated pass rusher, that's fine, but he's not those players. So nothing gets the pick. I like Princely, but I like him more in the 60s, 70s, or 80s.
All right, so we're going to take you off the board here for a second, sir. We'll go ahead and make your pick, and that would be for the Detroit Lions. I'm sorry?
But good Luther Burden. Good job, Gabe. Good job.
Good.
We try to end on a good note here, so okay, that's
Good
fine.
job.
Let me take you off there. Put the clock back up here for us, and let's discuss about the pick from Curious Sports Media's own Gabriel Esparza. All right, so go ahead, Gabe. Defend your pick for us.
Yeah, the biology of a team is important. So I understand he may not be as well-rounded as others would like. And the man who just complimented me has said that this is 20 picks too high. I think that's a little too harsh. If someone says
50 picks too
He
high.
said 50.
or yeah, sorry. I got ahead of myself there. If someone had said that I was 10 to 20 picks too high on this, I would have been like, I would be like, okay, yeah, fair enough. I could see a reach within that range. I think 50 is if he goes that low, so what would that put him around 73?
Mhm.
That would be a hell of a steal. But more importantly, to Prince specifically, listen, man, quarterback's is the most important position for some. So the guy who gets to the quarterback is pretty damn important as well. The Ravens are fine in terms of other areas. I think were they enough where I think they could afford to have more of a one-dimensional person on defense because of how good he is at that one dimension.
All right. So, we've talked about some of this stuff before. Wayne, I'll come to you and say, is it more of a scheme kind of thing when you're looking at some of these players? I think that's kind of what Gabriel's looking at is he fits the scheme that Baltimore's doing really well.
I mean, I don't know what Gabriel was thinking with this pick. I mean, I'm looking at it. I have 7 edge rushers ahead of him. I have 4 players from Ole Miss ahead of him. You mentioned 73. I actually have him 73 on my board here.
No way.
And so it's funny. That's exactly where he fell. To me, this reminds me of that famous clip now of the Patriots drafting Cole Strange, and they show Sean McVay in the press conference. Like, hey, the Patriots just took Cole Strange. He goes, man, and we wasted all that time scouting him for 300 or for the 3rd round. I mean, that's kind of like what this is. Prince, he's a 2nd, 3rd round pick, and he just went in the top 25.
All right, so I see Gabriel going for his coffee there. He's a big coffee guy. I'll talk to you about Rowdy Knights Club Mushroom Coffee that's sponsoring us. You can scan the QR code right there on the clock. Some things that it's really good for. It's gluten-free. It has non-GMO. It's no sugar, and it's vegan and keto friendly. So make sure you pick up some of that today. You can get it in 1 pouch, 2 pouch, or 3 pouches. And I'm sure that between the Sportz Truth and Rowdy Knights Club Mushroom Coffee, we're going to have a great partnership moving forward. So, Med, talk to me about this pick. So I think we have established that it is a reach. Just how far is it for you?
First off, great segue into the coffee thing. That was pretty impressive, sir. Hats off to you, Mike.
Well, thanks.
As far as this goes, I mean, I'm looking at the board too, and he was 5th. And because I have it up over here, and I mean, I'm not trying to bash Gabriel anymore because I like him, but
there's a butt coming. I hear there's a butt coming.
But it is a head scratcher. This is like Tim Tebow being picked in the 1st round by the Denver Broncos. I mean,
well, that didn't work out too bad for them for at least a couple 3 years. Now, it wasn't a long-term solution, but he got them to the playoffs at least once, right?
Yeah, and won a game. So I mean, he won a playoff game. But maybe Princely, there is something that Gabriel saw with Melon that no one else did, and when that happens, he's going to let us know.
Oh yeah, he's the young kid of this group, right? I'm the old fart over here, so I don't know how to edit any of this stuff or anything like that. Now Gabriel's going to edit the snot out of this, and probably the first thing that's going to come up on this edit is this piece right here. And then he's going to save this for 4 or 5 years, and if something great happens with this pick, we're all going to hear about it, and it's going to become a meme here. So
you're talking that he's going to edit out the Ashton Genty.
Right.
Oh my God.
The Calvin Banks Jr. The Josh Simmons. You got props for Amon Mimbu, so there's that. And Shador Sanders.
We're just going to be an edit fest. He's going to have a lot of he's not going to have any time on his hands because he's going to be editing all this. That's okay. All right, let's bring Cheese back up on the board here with us real fast. This is the Detroit Lions pick. Cheese, this is your last pick of the draft, so I'm going to do the same thing for you that I did for Gabriel. Go ahead and tell us, sir, who did you choose for the Detroit Lions at pick number 28?
So I chose Donovan Ezeraku, edge rusher from Boston College.
I like that.
And why did you make that choice, Chief?
This dude is unbelievable pass rusher, so productive, multiple pass rush moves, has a great counter move, has unbelievable length for his size, 34-inch arms. The one knock on him is size. He is undersized, so he might just be a designated pass rusher, but his character is off the charts, about as high character as you're going to get. And the Lions really need pass rush. I hope this doesn't happen, but I have Ezeraku much higher than this.
All right. So, Gabriel, let's go with you for a second here. Is this going to be a good fit for him because he's going to be opposite some other really good pass rusher on the other side of the Detroit line?
Yeah, I think so. It helps when you have someone like the likes of, Hutchinson right there for that the offense will spend their week's preparation and game plan around. So yeah, that frees you up. That being said, just because, someone may or may not pick Donovan doesn't mean that someone who picks Princely isn't entirely wrong though. But that in a hypothetical scenario where someone might maybe picks Princely ahead of him, the edited clip with the K-pop song at the end of it, toward the end of the season, it could hit and it could really gain a lot of views, I feel.
Okay, well, I don't know what in the heck you're talking about. I don't know what that music is or what this K-pop song is. Wayne, do you know what he's talking about? Do you know what a K-pop song is?
I know what K-pop is. I don't listen to it though.
Oh, okay.
Wayne doesn't seem like a K-pop kind of guy.
Yeah. You got more of it than I do. So.
But I did want to say about this pick, I think it's a fantastic pick. I actually like it a lot. I like Ezeraku a lot. I think he's a really good defensive end, and I think that's a position that they could use. He fits in seamlessly. I do think that Cheese missed a great opportunity when you asked him why he made this pick. He should have said because Princely Umamelon was off the board, so I had to go with the next best guy.
I mean, yeah, my best pass rusher was gone, so I had to go to the next guy.
Right.
Yeah.
It's kind of like this show. It's starting to get off the rails a little bit here. But you can tell we've been at this for almost 3 hours now. We're towards the end of this draft, so that's good. But there are some people out there right now who I'm sure are just waiting anxiously for us to do the Commanders and the Bills and the Chiefs and the Eagles picks. So we gotta keep this thing moving here.
Hey, these are good teams. This is important picks. These teams are close.
That's true. That is very true. And Washington Commanders right now are being looked at by Med. He is feverishly in his war room over there. I can see him. He is sweating so hard. He's trying to figure out which pick he's going to make here. So let's do about 30 seconds with each one. I liked it when we did this the last time. I think this really did something. Maybe we can embarrass more than one person today. Cheese, who should the Washington Commanders pick with this pick?
Derek Harmon, defensive tackle, Oregon. They need defensive line help as bad as maybe anyone not named New England. So that's a no-brainer for them.
All right. Gabriel, go ahead and tell us who you would pick that we wouldn't.
Well, there are a lot of great edge rushers, including Princely, and it's just a pity that he didn't fall to 29. But in his place, Landon Jackson, I think, would fit in quite well here.
All right. And then, of course, Wayne, we got to go ahead and go with you, sir. What would you pick with this pick going to the Washington Commanders at number 29?
For the Commanders, to me, the biggest glaring hole on their defense is their secondary at corner and at safety. I would probably go with Malachi Starks here at safety for them.
All right. Well, it's pretty interesting here. Let's make sure that this little buzzer goes off here with our scan code right here for Rowdy Knights Club Mushroom Coffee. We'll do that. Now I can't let Med pick his own people yet because he still has the final pick of the draft. So we'll do that here when he picks for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I will say that with the 29th pick in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special, the Washington Commanders select Derek Harmon, One of you got it right. I'll right along with Med. So, Med, why Derek Harmon? Why now? As we put Wayne on the clock here, and he's going to do Buffalo. Wayne, can you do Buffalo and Kansas City within the time frame, sir? All right, he says yes. I'll take him off the board here, and then we'll get back to him here in just a moment as we talk about this pick that Med made for the Washington Commanders. Go ahead, sir. Defend your pick.
Their Russian defense was ranked 30th in yards against. Literally during the playoffs, if you watch the game, they just got tore up. The very first play that Saquon Barkley had in that NFC Championship game was a 64-yard touchdown. And it, I also, so the reason why he said that was because I actually originally put Jerde Barron as the pick, which they need another corner. But then I thought about it. I was looking up at their rankings and everything. I was like, oh yeah, no, running was like basically they couldn't stop anybody. They couldn't stop a Pee Wee team. And if you're going to really build up and have that championship caliber team, especially with the fact that you just got rid of Jonathan Allen, you need to go ahead and bring someone in that can actually take that spot.
All right, I like this pick a lot. I think it really fits the scheme. Cheese, what about you? Do you not only like the pick, but do you think it fits the scheme in Washington?
Well, I like the pick because that was my prediction. But yeah.
Well, don't break your arm patting yourself on the back, sir.
No, he definitely fits the scheme. He'll play 3 technique for Washington. But you know what Wayne said makes sense. Well, what Med said about that Saquon Barkley play, the safety for Washington, the 2 safeties, completely whiffed on tackles once he got out there. So maybe safety is a big need as well. So good call, Wayne, because he wasn't touched till the safeties and they completely whiffed. But yeah, Derek Harmon, great value here. I thought he'd go top 25 for sure, maybe top 20. And he's probably the best interior pass rusher in college football this past year as far as pressure rate. So he's going to get you interior pass rush from the get-go.
All right. So, Gabriel, what about this pick? Where do you think it falls in line? Are you good with it? Where are we going?
Oh yeah.
Uh-oh.
Oh yeah. I mean, Dan Lamming for all of the everything in terms of Oregon coming into the Big Ten. Listen, they got exposed in the best conference in America during the playoffs, and that's fine. It would happen to anyone. But throughout the course of the regular season, the Big Ten, they showed they represented and showed well of themselves, and he has a lot to do with that. So he's, I'm saying that to say he was very much battle tested, looked good, and I think this would be a great pick for them.
All right. Fantastic. So,
does Gabriel like the Big Ten? I didn't know.
Oh yeah, my Twitter account is so the Sports Post 100 is like my sports account, but my personal one is at Big Ten Gabriel.
See, I helped plug you there at Big Ten Gabriel. Everybody, give him a follow.
You're just the king of plugs,
right? You are, man. You are.
You see my tight end rankings. You just see them at Football with Cheese.
So, are you telling us there's a Big Ten guy in there somewhere?
Maybe.
Oh
yes, Terrence Ferguson, Oregon is ranked 5th. There you go.
Okay, there we go.
Colston Loveland, Tyler Warren. There's a lot of Big Ten guys in there actually. It's pretty much the whole list. Luke Lachey is in there too. So there you go, from Iowa.
Okay, so Wayne is patiently waiting. He's got a $1.21 here, and he's going to make 2 picks. He's making the picks for the Buffalo Bills, and he's also making the picks for the Kansas City Chiefs. We have lost. Oh no, there's Med. Med is back. Hang on, let me get him. Put him back up there. Yeah. I don't know what happened there.
My internet's amazing sometimes.
Is it? Well, yeah. Well, where are you from, Med?
South Carolina.
So he said that with pride. I tell you, South Carolina. So yeah, what time is it there in South Carolina right now?
It is now midnight.
Right? Yeah, we've been doing this for quite some time. We only got 3 more picks left, so we'll make sure we get those in. Once again, you can scan code here. Go to Rowdy Knights Club Coffee. We We certainly appreciate you supporting them since they are supporting us. We are well up over 200 now, and we have stayed up there for quite some time. We appreciate that. You can also comment in the upper right-hand corner as we kind of close everything out here. We're going to do the Buffalo Bills, the Kansas City Chiefs, and, of course, the Philadelphia Eagles. And I would like to point out, as Chief said earlier, these are really important picks for all three of these teams. So this will be interesting to see exactly where everyone's going to go for these particular picks. All right, we're going to add Wayne back to the stage. We're going to take this back down to where we don't have the clock for a second. And Wayne has made 2 picks. So the Buffalo Bills are taking, is this first name, is it really Jaguar? Is that how you say it?
Jade, I think. Jade.
How do you get Jade
Jade.
out of that?
Oh, it's because of the autocorrect.
All right, then I'll stop with my autocorrect thing here. So we'll just say Mr. Barron, right? That is who he has chosen for the number 30th pick for the Buffalo Bills. And for the Kansas City Chiefs, Wayne, as I have with everybody else, buddy, I will let you tell us who you have picked for your final pick here in the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special. Please tell us who you're picking and why.
Well, with the 31st pick in the draft, the Kansas City Chiefs selected Nick Emanwari, the safety out of South Carolina. Looking at their roster, it's kind of an area of need. They've got Brian Cook at safety right now. I did consider guard because I think Kingsley Samatea is their starting guard. He's not very good. Their offensive line got completely trashed by Philadelphia in the Super Bowl. So going offensive line was an option. But ultimately, Samatea, I think, is a young guy, so maybe he bounces back. I figured safety is a more pressing need.
All right, so we've got almost everything done here. Philadelphia Eagles are on the clock next. Matt, I'm going to take you off the screen. You'll make this final pick for us, and then we will actually close out with a couple of questions. We got a Twitter poll question that I want to make sure we get to that we put out earlier today, and then we will bid you guys adieu, and we thank you all very much for being with us today. Let's put him up on the clock here real quick. All right, final pick going to the Philadelphia Eagles, of course. Wayne, let's start with you for just a second. So the Buffalo pick and the Kansas City pick that you just made, which team do you think would be happiest that person was still there in the draft for that team?
I think Buffalo with Jade Barron. I think, again, at 30 is pretty good get for him. I have him 21st on my big board.
Okay.
So I think they'd be pretty happy. Actually, in my mock draft that I did, I had him going 8 to the Carolina Panthers. So I think getting him at 30 would be a pretty good deal for them. Emanwari, I think, is going to be probably around that range, like the mid-20s to 30s, I think, maybe even the second round. So good fit for Kansas City. But again, Kansas City's always picking 31, 32. So they just got to take whoever's there.
Got it. There's a reason why they're always picking 31, 32, right?
And I left Med the option to take Malachi Starks because Philadelphia needs a safety, and he's from Georgia. And that's all they ever draft is guys from Georgia.
All right, we'll see if that premonition comes true here. I'm going through. There we go. I got the poll question here. I'll pull it up. We'll get to it here in just a second. Cheese, I'm going to go to you for a minute. Now, there's both of those picks that Wayne just made, Kansas City Chiefs and the Buffalo Bills. Which one do you like better?
Oh, I mean, Jade Barron's a steal here. So I don't hate either pick. I think the Chiefs are going to try to move up for an offensive lineman, especially an offensive tackle. You cannot go into next year with Jalen Moore and Jawan Taylor as your offensive tackles. You just can't. So I think they're going to try to move up, but Jade Barron would be an absolute steal for Buffalo. In fact, if he fell in the 20s, I could see the Bills moving up. They have 2 seconds and 2 fourths. So, Jade Barron, that's one of the best picks that anyone's made tonight.
All right. So you talked about moving up, and that's one of the things that is our Twitter poll question here. You can get and go over to the 643 and out pod, and you can vote on our poll question real quick. You can be part of the show. I know a lot of you have commented on it. You can also do it here, and I'll give you the poll question, and then we'll do the answer here in just a moment. How many trades will there be in round 1 of the NFL draft on Thursday? So your choices are 1 or 2, 3 to 5, 5 or more, or none. I'll let our panel of experts think about those for a moment. We'll ask each of them that same question as we close out our 2025 draft special here on the Sportz Truth, brought to you by the 643 and out guys, and of course by Rowdy Knights Club Mushroom Coffee. Scan that QR code right there, and you can do everything from what pops up from that. Gabriel, let's go with you for a second, sir. So, you've seen all of this. You've made the trades. Let's talk about Philadelphia for a second. Nobody else has been able to talk about it but you. Let's do it real fast. Who would you choose if you're the general manager of the Philadelphia Eagles before Med makes his choice here in just a moment?
Yeah, I'm gonna kind of go with my similar mindset that I had with the Ravens. I think you shore up the defensive line and or interior linebacking core. I think you're pretty much set at a lot of other areas on this team, particularly on offense, and anything that could be a weakness is covered up by Saquon Barkley. So I think you go with whomever you guys have as your next edge rusher. Just so that I can be further mocked, I'll say Nick Skirton. I think he's still available.
All right, buddy. Okay, so let's do this calling card one last time here. I love the buzzer and thank Ricky Logan for making this graphic for us. He did a fantastic job putting the scan code on here in the backdrop of Green Bay, as well as the timer that, if you watch it close enough, it actually moves around on the screen a little bit there. So thank you, Ricky Logan. I appreciate that. You can always go over and see him at It's Ricky Logan, and him and his buddy have a podcast called Red Hot Red. So check out both of those. I just may as well let this timer just tick on down because I don't know. I like to hear myself talk sometimes a little too much. So we got 7 seconds here. We'll let it go down. We'll talk to Med here. I'll go ahead and pull him up on stage. All right, get rid of this clock. Show everybody's pretty faces one last time here. And Med, I'll let you do the honors, sir. Who have you chosen as the 32nd and final pick of the 2025 Sportz Truth NFL Draft Special?
No one that anyone would have think of, but I went with Tyler Booker, left guard.
I was going to say that.
Yeah, no, it's
they need a guard. They
Yeah.
need a guard. They lost Michael Becton.
yeah, I was going to say Beckham, and
Yeah.
they brought in Kenyon Green from Texans, but
Oh,
no, I just think that exactly. If CJ Stroud was probably like, thank God he's gone, but but no, Booker, it just like y'all just said, it fills a need, and plus, like I said earlier, I said he was a road grader, so the tush push is alive and well in the city of brotherly love. So I think this is going to be one of those things where it will continue.
All right. So as we kind of stop on the show here for just a second, let's go ahead and show all the picks for a few times across the bottom of the screen in case you missed anything. 200 and almost 20 people are still with us right at the moment as we wrap up the show. We'll give you all of the picks as have been picked by our great panel. I want to give each one of them about 30 seconds apiece. Wayne, I will start with you. Plug your social medias. Tell us where we can find you and your great work and content, sir.
Yeah, on Twitter or X, it is Wayne_Gregwire. That is GREGOIRE. You can also search my name on Facebook, and I do have an author page. You can follow me there. I do post all of my articles there. I am a writer and editor for Stadium Rant, and that's where you can see most of my stuff.
All right. Stadium Rant's a fantastic site, by the way. If you haven't got a chance to go over there, I myself visit that site quite often. Med, talk to me about what we're doing with you and the shots from the sideline. Tell me where you got that title at and what it means to you, and then tell me what's on that on that X, buddy? I have a feeling that it means something, or you wouldn't have made the title what you did.
Originally, my podcast wasn't even my idea. It was something I was doing with a buddy, but I am a former football coach and I yell a lot. So just ask my players. But you can find me on Twitter, YouTube, and also I do a show with Fun Football Podcast called Sports Talk Therapy Monday at 8.
All right, fantastic. Thank you for all of those plugs. We will be sure to check you out. Cheese, I know you've told us about 10 times during the broadcast, but let's make it 11, buddy. Where can we find you at on your YouTube channel, sir?
So it's at Football with Cheese, spelled Cheez, like Cheez-It. And I cover pretty much everything about football, trends, analytics. I cover college football. A lot of channels don't. They just cover the NFL. I cover it all with focus on the NFL draft. And if you're a Ravens fan, make sure you follow Gabriel because you'll love the Princely Milan picks. And you can go to his Twitter and you can tell him how much you love it.
All right. So, Cheese, I have to ask you, are you the cheesiest?
Yes. But yeah, go Pack, go. But I'm a huge Packer fan, and yeah. So, me and Med, we get along, so that's good. You never know what's going to happen with Bears and Packer fans. So.
Yeah, Isaac is actually a Packer fan. My co-host on Sports Talk.
Okay, cool.
I watched a little bit of that earlier. He had some crazy guy in a silver jacket. I don't know, man. He was blinding me on the show.
Like Packers podcast, yeah.
Okay, so there you go. There's a shameless plug for pretty much everybody's stuff here. Gabriel, where can we get you at if we want to feel like we were really smart and we listen to you?
Oh yeah, you'd be at the right place. Your life would probably be increased and heightened in a multitude of ways that we can't get into right now. But you can find me at Sports Pulse 100. Also, we have articles on Stadium Rant where Wayne is a writer and editor. Just wrote a piece recently on Miguel Suazo. He's an up-and-coming MMA fighter, just fought in his second professional bout. I mean, it was a 12-second knockout. So go check that out on Stadium Rant.
All right, excellent. So we're plugging each other's stuff, and I love it. This is what we try to do here. I'm really into trying to help other podcasters out, and then we kind of each be on each other's shows and stuff like that. So I really thank all of you guys for being on the show with us today. I know it's late in a lot of your places. It is not in mine, so I'm good, but I'm still going to go to bed as soon as this is over. So here we go. Let's look at the Sports Truth poll question that we put out there today that went along with the show. Let me give you the question one more time, and then I'll ask each of you as we wrap this show up, this final question. And here it is. How many trades will there be in only round one of the NFL draft on Thursday? Cheese, I'm going to start with you. How many trades do you think there will be in round one? Your choices are 1 or 2, 3 to 5, 5 or more, or none.
I don't think there's going to be a lot of trades. Probably 3 to 5, because the top 10 to 14 picks, you might have one. It's just, there's not value there to move up. So I'll say 3 to 5.
All right, 3 to 5 is Cheese's answer. Wayne, how about yourself, buddy? 1, 2, 3, 5, 5 or more, or none?
I had 3 to 5 as well. I think obviously 5 or more is insane. That means that 10 different teams had to change spots in the draft. So I think really 3 or 4 is probably more realistic.
Yeah, right. And that is a good point. You have to look at it from both sides, right? If you do 5 trades, 100%, that means 10 different teams more than likely have done something like that. And I don't know if that's logical. Gabriel, let's go with you next. Here we go. 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 5 more, or none. Which one would you choose, sir?
You know what? We don't need to hedge our bets. For everyone listening, we're going to be bold out there. It's going to be exactly 4.
It's going to be exactly 4. All right. So that leaves us one guy left. Med, let's hear your opinion, sir. How many trades will there be in the NFL draft on Thursday? 1 or 2, 3 to 5, 5 or more, or none? And then I will tell you what our fans have told us.
I said 2.
All right. So 1 or 2. So 5 or more got absolutely no votes. None got absolutely no votes. 295 people taking a look at this poll question have said 1 or 2 gets 42.9%. And just like most of you up here on the stage, 3 to 5 got 57.1. So that's the overwhelming majority of what we've got going on is 3 to 5. Once again, gentlemen, thank you all very much. I know that you guys have been up late at night, and thank you for helping us with this show. Over 200 people have watched it today. I think that's a win for us all. So as we sign off, even though it's a football show, I'll still sign off the very same way. The only thing that's fair in life is a baseball hit between the third and first base lines. Good evening to our podcasters, and good evening to all of our fans. Thank you all very much.